But I guess a perfect day would probably be filled with less work. A perfect day, I would probably be the guy owning the business and going to my job site or something and being like, all right, guys, you're doing a good job. Let me double check this and that. All right, y'all have fun. I'm going to Cheddar's. Something like that.
Podcast and stuff. We just started. Boom.
Nice.
Who am I here with today?
Cutter Rees. Yes.
Who is Cutter Rees?
Cutter's just some dude that grew up in the west part of Texas and was tired of it the entire time he was there. So I moved over to Austin and trying to just live a life with music and cool people.
I feel like that's a theme in this house.
Yeah.
Because Logan has something similar to it.
Yeah. I mean, he kind of started it, and then he kept begging me to come up here, like, for a year or so.
Oh, y'all knew each other before this house?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I didn't know that. Y'all go, like, how far y'all go back?
I think it's been about 10 years that I've known him.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Was it like a college, like high school type y'all met?
No, it was his brother and I grew up and went to school together, and we graduated together. And at some point when we were growing up, he introduced me to his brother, Logan. And ever since then, we just kind of known each other. And once I graduated and got out, started doing my own thing, I found out Logan had moved over here, and I was jealous, and he told me to come over here. So finally, I got to do it.
Yeah, man.
Right opportunity hit.
What do you think of this place now, the Austin?
Oh, I still love it. I loved it whenever I got here. Like for 3 or 4 days solid, I was just giddy that I was here because I graduated in a town where the population was 203. So whenever you
son,
yeah, I mean, you come to a place like this, it's a great upgrade.
203?
Yeah, I graduated with like 13 other kids.
Jeez.
Yeah, it was very boring, especially for a heavy metal musician in a small West Texas town. You tend to get underappreciated.
So you were born in that town?
Yeah.
So like, what is your like perspective? Have you noticed the perspective change? Because I noticed it when I moved from New York, to here, like how I perceive the world. Like, did you notice that? Like, have like from over there to now, you living in Austin and seeing all this other stuff going on?
Yeah, I mean, I already kind of had a grasp on that compared to most of the people that lived around there. I just had different ideals, and once I got here, yeah, they definitely set in. And
see, I wasn't aware. Like, I was living on a bubble in New York, man, and it wasn't until I got like pulled out that I was like, what is going on? Like on this planet, I was
okay, yeah. Like it was like the simple ideals that I had, but like coming out and actually seeing it all was like a different thing. Like once I got here and I was like, oh, all this food, there's so many beautiful girls too. I was like, God, I didn't think the ratio was that good, but it turned out to be very good for me.
Yeah, man. Yeah, there's a lot. Like maybe it's like a bias I have because I definitely like Austin way more than San Antonio, but I feel like every time I come here, I always like see the girls downtown. I'm like, fuck. Yeah, I don't do that over there. And that's not to say anything bad about. I'm sure there's amazing people over there too, but I just feel like I never feel that way over there.
Oh yeah, yeah. And what I've come to find out is that most of those girls don't even live here anyways. They're either here for bachelorette parties or birthday parties or something that they've got going on.
And that's probably why too. Maybe because I'm seeing, you're seeing people from around. I remember I was live streaming on my phone at my friend's. He DJs weekly at Clive Bar at Rainy Street,
Nice.
and so I was there, and yeah, and like it's just a phone. I don't even have like the cool camera like that's there. Just that phone, literally that phone. But bunch of people would just come up to me, but like a few girls came up to me and they see it, they think you're special or something. But yeah, they were from San Francisco. They weren't even from here either.
Oh, wow.
So like, and I met someone, I think that same night, just walking around streaming from like Ireland and like, yeah. So like no one was even from Austin that I even interacted with that night. Yeah. So I don't know. And obviously, of course, this weekend, but this weekend is a special weekend because ACL, so that doesn't count. But that wasn't a special weekend as far as I know. And that bar there was no special event. That was just a weekly Saturday night. Mm-hmm. So it does happen here.
Yeah, a lot of people come around, and that was another thing like that I didn't know about. ACL is apparently like a really big deal, and I'd actually never heard of it until like I got over here. Like that was kind of another one of those deals that I was missing out on in West Texas. Was there were these popular events going on, and just this close, and I had no clue that they even existed. And for a musician, that's kind of bad.
Yeah. Well, that might come. So even when you didn't know about these events, you're saying, or?
Yeah, well, it really wasn't until just recently that people were like, "Oh, this is going on." I was like, "Oh, what's that?" They're like, "How do you not know about this?"
well, have you interacted with the music scene here yet? Like, I don't mean like going to shows, but like literally the people, like, or be joining some of these communities yet, or no?
Yeah, not necessarily yet. I've just been.
That's probably why. So like, even though you're here, you're still like in your bubble. So
yeah, exactly.
So I mean, that makes sense. Yeah, you haven't lived here long enough, not that long enough, because then you'll turn into one of those people. Oh, ACL, I hate it. South by, I hate it.
Yeah, exactly.
But man, yeah. The cool thing about working ACL, you see all these people from like around the world, like, and then since I'm doing tickets, I see all these IDs and stuff. Mm-hmm. Someone asked him for his ID because I have to. And he's like warning me, like, look, dude, shit's in Russian. Like, but all right. Like, and I looked at it and I was like, sure. I just,
I think you're good, bud. Go ahead.
Because they had like, I don't know what they call their language, like, but all these things and whatever's going on there, whatever's going on.
All these squiggly lines. I didn't understand them, but I trusted them.
Yeah. I mean, it looks like you kind of maybe with the shadows if we do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, and they all look just like so different than our, it's just like, oh, like I'm so used to just seeing my Texas idea, even just seeing stuff from Idaho or New Jersey and shit, I'm like, oh shit, you got colors on yours.
Yeah, it's like, where is that from? Oh, yeah. Oh, okay. That's still in the United States. All right.
And I always wonder, like, because I just keep my ID in the wallet. Like, I don't really have to use it except to card it in these clubs or whatever. Like, my shit, I'd like to think it still looks pristine. There are some people, who are like fucking bending their shit, wrecking their shit, and even the crazy, and that's fine, whatever, wear and tear. But it's some people, like, what were they doing? Like, half of that shit's cut up. And I'm like, what kind of life you living, dude? that your ID got cut up.
I know. I wondered about that too, but then I got a card that is like not even a year old yet, and I looked at it the other day, and it was cracked and split like halfway down. I was like, how did that happen?
Yeah.
I was like, I usually keep it in my wallet and try to flip them all the certain ways so the little scanner deals don't get messed up, and look what happens.
I don't know, life. I guess maybe I'm just not living an exciting life. Maybe I kind of stay. To be fair, like at this point in my life, I stay in a bubble too, man.
Yeah.
So like, someone asked me for a connect to San Antonio for the music industry over there, like, because they wanted to do a tour there, and I was like, I'm working now, but I'll give you something later. But I warn you, like, I'm not really a part of that, so I don't know how much I'm gonna be able to offer. And then once I started like getting the screws loose in my head, like, oh, okay, there's this person, and I was still able to at least give them a starting path.
Yeah.
But like, I just kind of isolate myself. So like, I don't, in terms of what's currently hot or popping over there, like I couldn't even tell you no more.
Yeah.
And I'm technically supposed to know that stuff, but like for what I do, but I mean, it just doesn't interest me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I hear you. Most of the popular stuff just never caught my interest. Just like especially like mainstream sports like football.
Well, in the
basketball.
world, I just mean like for San Antonio, I'm supposed to know like
Oh,
some of
yeah.
like what's going on with the local music and stuff, and it's just like it's probably me as an artist, so like that I just didn't like it, like my experience there, so I've kind of shut it off.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know, because I was and honestly, as much as I spent a lot of time not liking San Antonio, the minute I kind of removed myself from that element, I'm not gonna say I like it or love it or something, but like immediately like a lot of the negativity I had for it went away because now I just don't interact with that negative element. So now I can at least say like, all right, it's a fine town if you want to do normal stuff, but if you're into the things the creative life, it still might be a tough thing for you, you know?
Exactly.
But yeah, I definitely don't despise it the way I used to. I used to hate that shit. I used to.
Yeah, that's definitely how I felt about West Texas. I can't say I feel that way much anymore now that I'm not over there. Like you said,
Yeah.
like I was like, oh, these people and their simple lives, this and that. I was like, they're so boring. And then I got over here and I got away for a little bit, and I was like, sometimes I do long for the simple life of just sitting out and not having anything to do, not really having anywhere to go, and it's not such a bad thing, you know, just being able to sit out and look at nothing, grass field or whatever, and just enjoy the peace and quiet.
Yeah. It's funny because Magnus was saying like, man, like he lives like 20 plus minutes away from one of his jobs or something. Like it was a negative. And I was like this location is like top tier, dude, because you're 15 to 20 minutes away from the chaos if you need it, but you can escape. And that's kind of great.
Exactly.
My friend Rob, he lives now on East 6, literally on East 6. And you know, it's cool, but it's like you don't escape. You don't escape.
You never escape. You're
so if it's
constantly
New
hearing
Year's
sirens.
Eve, if it's New Year's Eve or something, or Saturday, like there's always going to be nonsense going out there, you know? So it's like, even if you're still inside, you know, like all that noise and shit, and it's less like,
Yeah.
it's cool to go in doses, but it's cool to like, you can just come here and just chill.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. That was definitely why I liked this house whenever I came here, was because I wanted to move to the city and be downtown and all that, but this is like a perfect in between from being out in the country to being in the city.
Yeah.
Because, you know, we've got woods and trails behind us and just a neighbor to the right side of the house and across the street. So,
Yeah, man. It's crazy. Like right on the Greenbelt is literally the thing right there.
yeah, literally, I just have to walk out the back door and then take 10 steps. I'm like, all right, time to exercise.
Yeah. That's insane, dude. But we was talking earlier about food and stuff, and you said the ramen like not having carbs or not too many carbs or something. But
No, it's full of carbs, but it's just kind of one of those things. Like if you're looking to, I guess, lose weight, ramen wouldn't necessarily be the best thing for you. But like me being always skinny and having a high metabolism, it really doesn't affect me too much.
yeah, I feel like and I've heard it forever, but I feel like it's definitely true. Like if you don't get fat, like it's definitely easier to maintain the way you are now. You know, like I think once you get it, it gets harder to stay. That's not to say it can't be done, but it gets harder to revert, you know?
Exactly.
And that's what I've noticed, because I was skinny for most of my life, and then like I put on a lot of weight doing a lot of exercises, and then once I stopped doing that, like, you know, then it turns to fat, and now I just bounce back and forth, you know, depending on you know, how motivated I am to be physical. But I think we were talking, about before about carbs and like good and bad, and I just think it's not even like, because now with the popular diets and like the one like Magnus is doing and stuff, I think there's a lot of negativity for carbs, and I think they're still fine, they're still great.
Yeah,
it's just maybe we probably intake too much, given the fact that a lot of us are not exercising or being active, just in general.
That, and depending on the time of day that you eat them, or however your day runs. Say like if you're a person like me, I'm an electrician and I'm constantly active. It's kind of good for me to eat carbs in the morning or at lunchtime because I'm going to burn them off anyways. And they're kind of like that's kind of what they're good for, is like a quick burning fuel. Like whenever I was trying to do bodybuilding for a little bit, which I did a good job, I gained like 25 pounds in 2 months. And the main thing they kept telling me to do, especially for a skinny guy, was carb up, eat as many carbs as you can. And it's like just one of those good deals to pack on weight with real quick. But like in the evening or something, it's better to eat like a light snack or something with less carbs in it. That way you don't like sit there and retain it.
I've gotten into all these other things though. Like I've done the keto like Magnus, but only done it for 3 weeks. At some point I'll try it a little bit longer, but it's just so easy to eat like tasting garbage.
Yeah. Yeah, I get real bad about that, especially if I'm not staying so active. I'll sit there bored for a while, then I'll start to crave all the bad things immediately. It's pretty funny.
I think, and this is not even, yeah, for me, it's just real easy. You can easily just sit there, watch whatever your favorite show is, just eat shit. And that's like, just turns you into this thing, man. Like that, I think can feel good in the beginning, but then if you become aware, it's like, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah.
Like, that's what's happened to me anyway.
Usually by the time I become aware, like my stomach is like really bloated and I feel pain. I'm like, oh, I'm hurting. Oh, I've eaten way too much. Wait, and I backtrack and I'm like, oh, that was bad. That's really bad.
Yeah, like for me, like I used to like doing that with like kettle chips and like Mexican Cokes and stuff. And then pizza maybe too. Yeah, like just like, oh, my favorite show's out, blah blah blah, and then get those foods, then just kill myself. And like it used to be fun, but like I think I've done it so much over the course of my life that like now like a lot of that stuff doesn't even taste good no more. And I feel like I was just doing it out of habit.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sucks. So I don't know. Yeah. I think it's a good thing though. I'm kind of glad that it's not appeasing me as much anymore, because I think it just makes it easier to like move on to whatever the next thing it is I'm gonna move on to.
Yeah, for sure.
So did you get into music while you were over there?
In West Texas?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure. That was kind of, I guess where I started from was what was I think I was about 10 or 12 years old, somewhere in there. It's kind of fuzzy, but my dad had played bass in a band whenever he was in high school, and he was always into 80s hair rock, stuff like that. And as I was growing up, I always thought rock and roll was just the coolest thing. Like the definition of cool was rock and roll, was kind of what I thought. So I started listening to like AC/DC, Black Sabbath, and I ended up moving like from 70s to 80s rock, and then I got into the 90s for a little bit, and then somehow I backtracked and went to the Beatles in the 60s and Beach Boys and stuff like that, and fell in love with that kind of stuff. And then being in West Texas, I fell in love with some of the oldies country, but never got into the newer country music. Like anything past 1985, I never really cared for.
Damn. That's funny, and now you're just playing 8-string guitar. So
yeah. And I got to the point where I was just playing, I was like, I want to play harder stuff. Look at this guy, he's playing better than me. And I eventually just got to the point where I liked how technical things were. And
how do you get into harder stuff, considering that you stop at 85? Like heavier music, I mean, I guess.
Well, it was really just country music that stopped at 85. Okay,
just the country. Gotcha.
Yeah, everything else, like, I guess I kind of was also listening to what was on the radio when I was younger, like 3 Days Grace and Mudvayne and other good bands that really stood out to me on the radio. And as I got into those, I liked that tone, liked that sound, and people would introduce me to new stuff. Like, I never really listened to too heavy stuff. Like for the longest time, I thought, who was it? Drowning Pool. I thought their songs were Disturbed. Like,
really?
Yeah, I literally like didn't know anything until probably like once I got into high school. Yeah, and then I started getting into some more heavy metal stuff and started playing drums and got better at guitar and started trying to sing some and recording. And since I was in such a small town, it was usually just me and one other buddy that would sit there, and we would just all record songs together and just play by ourselves, since we were the only ones who really cared about rock and roll or knew how to play instruments.
Do you still have some of those recordings?
I do, actually.
Oh shit, you should show me.
Yeah.
I actually only heard it because I was on the outside, back behind their stage, but I heard some Disturbed because they were at ACO.
Oh, nice.
Um, and man, I swear every song. It's funny just hearing it now in 2018, but I was like every song like, man, that sounds like Disturbed. Like I don't know what their new albums sound like, but just his voice and then like the tones that they put underneath it, I was like, man, this is Disturbed, yo.
They've got a solid sound that
Yeah.
that you can tell it's them just about every time.
Yes, like every song he played, I was like, man, that sounds like Disturbed. That sounds like Disturbed.
Hmm.
That's not necessarily a bad thing, though. Like it just depends. Um, like I would be like Meshuggah. I say the same thing, but about like every Meshuggah. Like let me hear this new Meshuggah. Like yep, sounds like Meshuggah, you know. But no one sounds like Meshuggah, and that's kind of cool. Even
Exactly.
if everything they make sounds like everything they make.
Exactly. Like, yeah, there's some bands that find their sound and then they just stick with it. And then I like that and all. And then there's some other bands that find a sound and then they get away from it. And I'm like, oh, I love that sound. I wish I'd go back. But then I'm kind of in the point where I'm like, I'm glad they switched up.
That's probably. I almost have to like revisit these things, but I probably felt that way about like I wish they would go back. Like I felt that way about Dream Theater forever. I felt that way. You probably won't know this band, but it was an important band when I was growing up for me. It's a Japanese band called Duran Gray. They came to America during like Korn's Family Values tour. They were on that for a little bit. That's
Okay.
how I think most Americans who don't follow Japanese stuff kind of learned of them.
Yeah.
And they played South by like many years ago. Like, many years.
Oh,
Probably
nice.
like in the 05-ish. No, probably 05 to 010 range, somewhere in there they play it.
Okay.
But anyway, yeah, like they did the same thing where they had a cool like course of albums for me, and honestly, both of those bands to me fell prey to the same victim, and that like if you hear the classic Dream Theater albums, which to me is 92 and 94. What is it? Oh shit, I don't know. It's so classic, I don't remember them. But I mean,
You're right.
but they really are like amazing. Whatever is in 1992, because that has like Metropolis and Learning to Live. And whatever is in 94, which is Awake, that's the album Awake. And
Yeah.
92 is Images and Words.
Okay.
See, I'm older now, so the loading had to take it
Yeah.
took a while, but it loaded, you know. And then some fans will also say Scenes from a Memory, which is like 97-ish, maybe 99.
Yeah.
But really, it's those first two I mentioned. But like, I feel like there you get a spectrum of like the full colors of sound, you know.
Yes.
You get the softer stuff, you get the harder stuff, but they do this album, which is a great album to me. They do Train of Thought, and I was like a metal album, all metal all the time.
Yeah.
And to me, after that, it's like they fell in love with metal and they never could let it go. And Duran Gray had that same path where they kind of did their own full spectrum. They weren't proggy, they were like still 5-minute songs, but they did their own colorful spectrum of soft and balanced.
Yeah.
And then they do something metally around that same time, and then they've never stopped. And at this point, you probably have to call them a metal band because now their discography is almost dominated by all these metal albums, you know?
Yeah.
So, and it's like, that's cool, and I love
Yeah.
metal. But the color can be literally, I don't know if you get like colors from music or something, but like, it really can feel gray all the time. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's called metal for a reason. And it's like when they kind of just do that forever, it's just like, you know.
Yeah, there's a bunch of bands that have kind of just strewn away from where they originally were and then just kind of stuck with something else that, yeah, did kind of just seem in that gray area. Like, one that I always kind of think of is like Asking Alexandria for me. They started off like with such a kind of an original sound.
Yeah.
And then they just kind of got away from that and stuck with mainstream sound is kind of how I pictured it. And I can't say it's bad by any means, but just not my cup of tea anymore.
Sometimes I just wonder, like, is that like something you have to? Because you see it happen so many times, and it's like, do you just have to do this to survive?
Yeah, like is this what happens, or is like this?
Yeah.
Is this what the best music really is, and we just missed it all this whole time?
Yeah, like what is going on? Like, you know who I think a lot of fans who at this point they gotta realize it's not gonna happen, but are always maybe clamoring for the past. I think like prog fans who like Rush.
Oh yeah.
Because I think they're still waiting for those Xanadu 1979 albums. And I'm like, dude, like it's been 30 years. Like,
Yeah.
it is not happening at this point.
Yeah, I agree. Like those are really good albums.
They are
Especially
though.
the
They
early
are.
ones.
That's not. Yeah,
But,
they are. But that just for whatever reason, like yeah, once they get into Simpson in the '80s, and then they go on whatever journey they go on, like yeah, like that just I guess that wasn't them. You know, that was them in the start, but that wasn't them.
yeah, that another good example of an older band like that is Metallica, and I feel like Metallica.
That's the most famous one. That's why I want to say it. But yeah,
Yeah. Like
Black Album.
Yeah, and like I was always just a fan of like the older ones, like Ride the Lightning and Justice for All, Master of Puppets. Those albums just like they had a good sound there going, and then like I guess they got
Do you start hating that Black Album, or no?
yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't say hate just yet, but after that, yeah, it kind of went into hate and
After what are the '96 albums? Yeah, like is it like Fuel? Like the one I know it has Fuel on it, but what are they? Load and Reload. That's what they're called, right?
I think
Those
so.
albums, yeah, Load and Reload. I'm pretty sure. At that point, it's almost like
Yeah.
rock music, like literally just like hard rock
Yeah,
music.
it went away from the metal style to
At
hard
all.
rock, and it was funny as I thought that as they went into the 2000s, James Hetfield's voice started to. It sounded like he tried to re-imitate his voice he had on the first albums when he was younger, and I was like, man, you're not quite doing it, but you are doing it, and I don't know if it really sounds good or not.
Well, I think so. I think this happens with every singer, period, in every band, because you all start doing it, and you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and then you lose your voice.
Yeah.
So I think what you're probably hearing is probably he had to learn how to sing properly, and that's
Yeah.
probably why it sounds like an imitation, because he can't do what he used to do. One, he's older, but two, he just can't because he'll voice will die, you know?
Yeah.
So he's probably doing the best he can while doing it in a healthy way so his voice can be used. Because I'm brand new to like using my voice, but yeah, even like learning the little bit that I've learned, like I could already like hear a difference and stuff. And because I don't have material like they did, because I was making music, but I was never being a vocalist, there's nothing really for me to compare it or to, except that, all right, this sounds like something different, but I don't have any wax, I don't have nothing on wax.
Yeah.
But they do. And then those things are like classic records. So you hear it. Like one of my favorite bands is actually like Japanese music was a big thing for me growing up. So
Nice.
like Lunar Sea, they were probably like a rock band, just like kind of like they were probably 96 would be the close. 96 Metallica. Like, we were just
Okay.
that's probably more their style, but they become arena rock, But man, I think they did a full on recording of their first album like in 2002, but their first album was like in 89. And
Oh, nice.
so like obviously everything's mixed better, mastered better, probably compressed too much now because
Right.
they got money now, Like,
Yeah.
but the most amazing thing is that guy's voice. Because at that point it becomes user preference, because that's where the real difference was. Not so much that like, okay, everything is recorded better now, but his voice, because back then he's like screaming and shit. And he's a singer, but he's not doing metal shit or nothing, but he's still screaming that singing.
Yeah.
And you can tell like, man, he really don't know what he's doing. But still works for that is. But now since they're doing a re-recording of something from 89, now he's singing it. And it's definitely a different vibe.
Yeah. It's
And
like,
you can tell he knows what he's doing, and it's healthy and it's good, but it's different. You know what I mean?
yeah, exactly. It's like, okay. Yeah, one of those to just kind of think about the old album while you listen to the new version of the album.
Yeah, because like in that case, like unlike everybody else who can just play an F, power chord,
Yeah.
like he has to like, I don't know what you call it. This shit's emit, I don't know, but since it's his body, and he's doing it using different techniques now. Everybody else, like, okay, I got a new guitar, I got a new drum kit, we got cooler mics. It's easy, just do it, like.
Yeah, you just grab it and go.
Yeah, but physically, so, and they're both kind of cool, but yeah, that we're gonna notice with everybody. Like even with during Gray canceled, I think a tour, maybe even involving America. Same thing, because he lost his voice, and that's probably when he decided to, oh shit, I better learn how to do this for real, you know? Like,
Yeah.
I feel like that happens with every metal band.
Yeah, I know that kind of happened for me starting whenever I was younger. And like, as I was singing in high school, I'd hear some people say like, hey, you should probably practice those vocals a little more. I'm like, oh, thanks for the honesty.
You're like,
And
fuck you, you know?
but like there was one older musician that gave me he said it in a really good way. He said, hey, when you're older, your voice will mature a lot more and you're going to like it a lot better. And as I noticed as I got older, I thought about that just like almost every time I sang after that. And eventually, as I got older and I kept trying to sing and just like trying to force good singing upon myself, it actually worked out pretty well. And the best practice I got was in my truck while I was driving. So that was one good thing about West Texas and having to drive 30 miles between each town, as you get a lot of singing time in.
Would you say that, because I don't know if you're singing daily, like, well, actually, first, do you start singing right away when you start doing the music or no?
No, that's usually the very last thing I do.
Oh, not even in your creative process. I just mean in life, like, because you started playing instruments, but did you start singing right away with it, is what I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, my mom always said I was singing since I was a little kid.
Okay.
And honestly, I can't, like, every time I was good and alone or something like that, yeah, I loved to sing and jam. I remember even whenever I would sit in class and like I have headphones on, I'd start singing and stuff, and I'd look up and people were staring at me. I was like, oops. I was like, sorry. But yeah, that definitely came with guitar too. Whenever I started playing, was trying to practice singing and playing at the same time, and just trying to get better as a singer once I realized that notes were an individual thing rather than, just kind of some freedom that you get to do for fun.
Would you say right now, like, I guess when you sing or are you a good singer or are you just a good screamer actually?
I'd say I'm a good singer too.
Okay. But would you say that you do that in a way that you don't hurt yourself? Or you can hurt you, or like,
I can't say I ever feel like my voice is going to go out, but I can't say that I sing for like what a full set would be, like a solid 45 minutes.
And you're not doing it daily either, so
yeah, I mean, I try to do it as often as I drive, really. Like I get into a habit, like as soon as I turn on music, I start singing. Like that's like when vocal practice comes in whenever I start driving, and as soon as I get home, I usually hit the guitar. But I would say that there's some times I've been on some long drives and like I sat there and was singing for like a good solid hour, and then I got to the point where my throat was like sore and like I could see my voice was like changing as I was singing more, and I was like, okay. And of course it's bad that I'm doing like different styles of music, because like I'll throw 7,000 songs on shuffle, and like I'll be going from like Meshuggah to Beach Boys to Red Hot Chili Peppers. Yeah. So like I think that kind of throws it off too, but yeah, there's definitely sometimes I gotta watch whenever I'm singing too much if I'm gonna throw something out. I know whenever I'm screaming for a good minute, I never really feel threatened that I'm gonna blow my voice out. But
yeah, I was telling you the other day, but one day I think I want to keep learning like normal singing first, but yeah, one day I'm gonna dive deep on either some of those growls or scream or something, because yeah, a lot of just that whole vocal world still makes no sense to me. Even just normal singing, I'm like sometimes I'll watch a tutorial or something, I'm like, what, like
yeah, I've never really had any lessons of any sort. I guess all I can say I did was like just listen to music and really tried to match people, and then maybe playing along with the guitar, like, and then listening back later after I recorded it, I would be like, that doesn't sound good. Like this guy, when I heard these guys play an acoustic song and it sounded good, and I went and tried to play that same song and it sounded not so good.
It always feels good. It always feels
it felt good at the time. I was jamming, but now that I go back on it, that was terrible.
Yeah. There's always so much, even right here, like on this couch, on that couch. We were, I had my friend come in, I don't know, maybe like a month or two ago when I was here. I think you guys were in New Orleans,
Okay.
And she's like a great she's primarily focusing on being an actress,
All right.
but
Yeah.
she's a great singer too. That's really what drew me in when I met her in college. And yeah, so I was like, before you go, like, tell me one thing, that as somebody trying to do this, like, blah blah blah, and she told me, like, and it was something I wasn't even aware of, but yeah, like, now I practice it too, like, that to pretty much, when you're singing, like, to almost like to not, because a lot of people, you always hear like sing from here or whatever, right? Sing from, what is it?
Like,
Not, I don't want to say stomach, but what are they saying, Steve?
sing from your gut or something
Yeah,
like that.
something like that. So like I would always try to do that, and that gives you a certain visual. But she was saying, like, because of that, people would just start like roping it in and like getting all the air out. So she was saying like, pretty much you work these muscles, these rib cage muscles, and pretty much you want to never like crush your stomach while you're singing. Like, pretty much always keep it expanded as much as you can, so that way the air goes out only because of your voice, and you're not squeezing it out for fun.
Yeah.
And I was squeezing it out for fun. I was like, look, I use this shit and working out all the time, like, this makes perfect sense,
Yeah.
like, just make that shit tight as fuck, like.
That's funny. I like that term.
So I was like, yeah, because like, if you try to, I never was good at deadlifting, but like when you do that, you need to like make all that shit tight, So I'm pretty much doing that when I'm trying to like use my voice, and I was like, oh, so do the opposite of everything you've been doing. Got you.
Yeah, like stay relaxed but stay firm at the same time.
Yeah. Huh? And the first time you start doing that, I'm like, now you're like concentrating on so many things. So you're like highly trying to be self-aware, but you're still trying to sing. So like you're singing bad because you're so self-aware, and it's like, it's like a lot of body parts you're trying to move in conjunction that have not moved in conjunction before.
Yeah. It takes a minute to like get them all to do this, what you want them to, without thinking about it.
Yeah.
And
it's a process. It's just fun, but it's a process. For
sure.
That's
funny. I kind of went into a reverse style after I went into playing more technical guitar. I got away from singing and playing at the same time because, some of it's just like near impossible to do. But I got to the point where I noticed as I was playing technically that I wasn't breathing anymore.
Oh,
like
man.
I was like, like after I get done playing, I was like, wait a minute. I was like, I was not breathing at all.
I had that with guitar too in the beginning, man. Yeah.
And I
concentrating so much.
And then I had to learn how to breathe while I played guitar, which is something I never thought I'd have to do, is to learn how to breathe.
Yeah.
Like,
because it's weird. It's like all these stages you got to go to. You're like highly self-aware to make certain things move that were never moving. And then now you got to relax again because now you're concentrating too much because you're trying to do this thing. And so it's like, man. But I think great poet Elton John once says the circle of life or something. It's like, so we go far. Or what's funny? Actually, what's a better one? Mad Max movies. Those movies, like, I've never seen the Mel Gibson ones, but those are really what they are. And then the new one that came out. But I think the most famous Mad Max movies are, they always start at point A, they go to point B, they didn't like where point B was, and they go right back to point A. Like, you can break down, like, even the newer one, because that's really the only one I've seen. You seen new Mad Max movie?
I haven't seen any of them, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So like, I've only seen the new one. Still, it's real good. It's ridiculous, but it's real good. But like, yeah, there's a story and all this blah blah blah, and it's funny because the main character is not even the main character at all. It's almost like here's his journey, but he's really interfering with other people's journey. He's just kind of just alive,
Yeah.
And I wonder if that's how all of them are. I don't know, because I've only seen the new one. But what's funny about that is that like the whole point of that movie, right, is to get from point A, which is horrible. It's like this prison, blah blah blah. It sucks, life sucks, or whatever it is. Want to get to point B, the promised land,
Yeah.
So you get to the promised land's trash, So now they want to go back and just change some stuff and maybe set everybody free. But I'm like, if you just remove all the story, I'm like, yo, wow. So this movie is really about a car drive from point A to B, and you just go back home.
Yeah.
I'm like, and that seems to be a lot of the Mad Max movies. It's just really about going from point A to B, and now we're gonna go back. You know, and then now you just sprinkle drama and action in between, but really that's all that's happening.
That's funny.
It's just a day at work. That's all it is. It's just like, I'm gonna go here, I'm gonna put in some work, I'm gonna go back home.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, truck drivers are like, yeah, I live that movie every day.
Yeah. It's just long. It might be a few days instead of one.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that seems to be how like learning a lot of these techniques are, is that like you start out not knowing nothing, but you're like fine, but now you're trying to get to this thing, but you try so hard to get to this thing that now you're fucked up, and now you really just want to go right back to where you started, but with that knowledge now.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, yeah, that's how I feel life is for a lot of people.
Just how so?
Well, there's I know everybody has had this point in their life where they were like, man, I wish I knew back then what I knew now.
That's true.
And
what was that moment for you?
Oh God, there's so many. like let's go back to when I was 5 years old. I wish I just had all the knowledge I did now. One, because I'd be a child prodigy.
Yeah, well, that's true. But I'm like, what is happening at 5 that you're like, okay, I want to go back to that 5? Like, I always think of that too for myself, but it's almost like kind of scary, right? Because the scariness comes from overthought. Because basically, I'm like, yes, it would be cool to go back. I had all this knowledge. Everything would be amazing, right? Because I know so much, and I can cheat and invest in Apple and whatever. But I mean, really, the scariest thing is there's two scariest things. Because one is like, I want to go back so I can change it so things can end up better now, right? So really, I'm in a race to get right back to where I am already, right? However, because I have all that knowledge and I'm there changing it, I'm never going to be here. I'm not going to make it to this couch and fireplace. I'm probably going to be somewhere completely different, supposedly better, because that's why I'm going back to change it.
Yeah.
But even scarier is now I have this. I think I'm 33, so this 33 years of experience, but I go back to, let's just pick 5 because you said 5.
Yeah.
Now I'm like literally right back to where I started, and like I have to live it like every day again. And it's like now I'm playing like a waiting game almost, and I'm like, that's a long ass wait.
Yeah, that would be pretty bad actually. Now that I think about it, because I hate routine things. I usually have to change everything up all the time. Like, I've lived here, what is it, 4 months now, and I'm surprised I haven't changed my bedroom.
Only 4 months?
Yeah, it's only been 4 months, and I'm surprised I haven't moved my bed somewhere else, but I don't think my room would work any other way. I kind of got it set
I can't do that. I cannot, like, I hate moving my thing. My mom loves doing that for her part. Sometimes I go visit her, and I'm like, I open the door and there's a couch in front. I'm like, what just happened? Like, why is there a couch here? She's like, I got bored. I'm like, what? Yeah. I'm like, my sister occasionally, but like
And I think that's why I haven't done it, is because since I've been here, I haven't been bored yet. Because either I've been out with Logan and Ian, just going out to eat or doing something like going to New Orleans or going to Thailand, but we're playing music. So yeah, I can't say that I've ever even found the time to do that yet.
Yeah, that's good. Because I feel like these things, they don't matter. It's just fucking. I mean, I'm not shitting on feng shui and all that shit. I'm sure that has a thing too. But I mean, like, like, oh, I need to move this couch or like have it in its right position. Like, man, like, just put it there. Like for me, like, right, my maximum concern right now is just space right now. Cause I'm a big fan of like doing yoga and like all this body stuff. So like, granted, most of my days here have been like just me not here because I'm at ACO like, when I was working. But like when I'm here, like I kind of just like stay up there because what I'm really doing is just that. Like, it's not too much space, so I'm doing like baby versions of it. But like I'm just doing like yoga or something. So like for my room, like like now I'm just kind of trying to sell everything. Like I don't want everything. Unfortunately, like I don't know if it's greed or like maybe like the little bit of whatever it is in me, but like I'm like, but some of this stuff, instead of just throwing it away or giving it outright, I'm still trying to sell it. So like, and it's going slowly. Like I think I sold like 3 or 4 things since I've been here, and I did the same thing for last week when I went back. First thing I did was like, yo, I gotta ship this shit on eBay because people gonna be angry at me that I haven't like, mailed any of this. So
Yeah.
that'll be the first thing I do when I get back is pack up everything that needs to be shipped.
Right.
But yeah, I just really want space. Like I don't want to own anything except for what I used to create. So like these mics, these camera, like my guitar, my computers, because that's where everything is now. But other than that, like I haven't used it yet. But I bought an air mattress because I was like, I don't even want bed. I'm just put this air mattress here, and then you know what I do when I wake up? Boom. I just do this. I just lift it up.
Yeah.
Now I got mad space.
Yeah.
Now I got mad space.
Exactly.
You know, like. So like I just wanted to have like the stuff I need because I'm like, man, like before I die, like I really want to make it to like, and I still haven't defined it enough to even like verbalize it, but whatever it is I'm trying to become, which is clearly like somebody who does this creative shit at a high level, a high enough level that this is my life and that's it. And so all the things need to be removed, you know, at least until I get there.
Exactly.
So
yeah, and I'm about the same position as that, but I also do like to have my comfort whenever I'm wanting to take a break. Like, of course, I like an actual mattress. I like a good stiff mattress, firm one.
Oh no, look, don't get it twisted. Yo, when first time I stayed here, I was like, wait, I get a room? Like,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what?
We treat our guests nice here.
I know. I was like, I was like, I got 2 beds. Like, I don't need them, but I got 2 beds. I was like, this is like, so no, this is the best place because I'm used to sleeping on couches. Even that couch is amazing because I slept there right before I went to Thailand for week 1 of ACL. Even that was fun. Even though I told him to wake me up and I'll move upstairs, I was almost angry he woke me up.
Yeah,
because it was fine. It was fine. It was like, this couch is great.
It's like, are you serious?
Because some of the other spots I've stayed in, and I'm grateful for every place I stayed, but it's never, I don't never get a room. You know, like, so I was like, this is amazing.
Exactly. And I've actually, I guess I've gotten a little spoiled with that. I've turned down so many people to stay the night or stopped drinking early at some place because I was like, I don't want to sleep on a couch or in a recliner or something like that. I'd rather just sleep in my own bed.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if it's just that I like my own comfort zone or what, but
I think that's with me a lot, because I do it less now, because I don't know if it's just I'm older or just different hours or what, but man, I used to, so I've known Magnus and Ian, but I was definitely closer to Magnus for like a long time. But and I don't know if you ever met Leroy. I've heard the stories of him, but they would end up living in Austin. But even when all of us lived in San Antonio, like, yo, man, I used to drive over here a lot. So I got really used to driving here and coming back in the same night. There's a lot of crazy, epic stories. I think Raymond has the best story, who you probably haven't met yet either. He lives in Austin, but he was Magnus' last roommate. You ever met him?
I don't think I've met him yet.
He had an amazing story that I'll save it for another time. Of driving back. It was around New Year's Eve, actually. It was on New Year's Day and New Eve, both.
Oh, yeah.
It was pretty ridiculous. But, like now, like, man, I'll be falling asleep when I drive and like and I don't even drink. Like, but I'll be falling asleep, like if I have like a late night out here and come back and I'm like, man, like, I guess I can't do it no more. Like now I'm like, I plan stops at Buc-ee's and I'll just like sleep for like 10 minutes or something. Like, just because, like, I kind of know now, but, yeah, like, maybe I need to take people up on that when because a lot of people will offer, like, hey, you can stay, but, like, I think it's what you just said, like, I really just want to make it to my bed, and then I'll be able to do my routine tomorrow, and, like, blah, 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 and, yeah, that would be great, so.
Yeah, because for me, I can't stand trying to wake up the next day and not taking a shower, because that's usually the first thing I do after I wake up, just because I really won't wake up otherwise, unless if I just take a shower and freshen up. And sometimes I just feel like I guess I'm crossing any lines or something like that, just like immediately asking somebody the next day, oh, can I use your shower? Or wanting to leave early so I could go home and use my shower. just so I can wake up. I'm like, man, I feel kind of bad, but no, I've gotten to the point now where I really don't feel bad anymore. I'm like, no.
Yeah, man, shower. That's your thing. I've because I was working such extreme days. Yeah, that was definitely the first thing I did. Over here during the ACL weekend. But I think and I even did it today. But normally, that's not the first thing. If I don't have nothing, like, oh, I gotta make a job or something, like, if I don't have nothing time based where I'm just waking up, then actual first thing I do is walk my dogs because I guess they gotta go. But I mean, in terms for me, I mean, if I'm doing it right and not falling into distractions like by my phone or whatever other garbage, I probably meditate first, and then I have a whole routine that I think it was originally probably started like for exercise. So like, but honestly, I'm adding things in there that are now like life things. So like, to keep it simple, it's probably like meditation, like mobility. It looks like because I kind of reconstructed it last week because I had a day last week where they cut me short, so I just started like I killed a routine and made a new one. But meditation, mobility, and then like I never had like normal exercises. I had yoga in there because I kind of had a period in my life where I lost my arms and stuff. Like in terms of like being able to, guitar wasn't hurting, but I know it wasn't good. But pretty much I was on a computer all day for work, and then I would go home and make music on a computer. So I was on a computer 24 hours a day unless I was sleeping. And so things got bad. It wasn't tendonitis, but it pretty much was what we think is tendonitis, you know?
Yeah.
So like everything would hurt. I was typing with pens. Like it was really bad.
Oh man.
So I got into like trigger point therapy and yoga, and that kind of saved my life. So I'll always do yoga just for that. But so it was meditation, mobility. But now it's only body weight, but I'm finally starting to add a form of strength training because I want to be able to do it like without a gym, just so I can do it anywhere. Yeah. Versus there are things I like in the gym and it's just different and nice, but I want to do something in my room so that now no matter where I am, I can take it with me.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm still working out what exactly those exercises are, but now at least I have things to experiment. And then my guitar practice with my voice. And technically that's not real exercise, but like I just put it in there for some reason. So now I put that in there. And then I go right back to yoga. And then from there, now I'm adding all these other things. So, because I notice this has taken over as my main art, podcasting and then concert recording. But I mean, music's almost been forgotten about. And I'm like, man, I'm practicing for this thing I never do. So now I added like 30 minutes, 1 to 1 hour of music a day of creating. Which I haven't gotten to do because I'm here. Because like I that's the thing. Even though I've done so much electronic music, I never kind of liked creating not in my place. Yeah, you know? Yeah. So that might be like one of the next things I work on, is learn how to make music not in my room. But and then after that, 30 to 1 hour of video editing, and then I'm adding like real life stuff in there. It has nothing to do like just like. I'm almost kind of trying to like routine my day because I've just noticed like all the, I don't know, I guess people I look up to or whatever, or people I've always looked at like, oh, they seem to do this shit too in their own way. Like I can't follow their routine, but I can make mine. Yeah, exactly. And on a normal day where I don't have, wake up at 9, do something, I should be able to do all this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, since you've mentioned that, I've thought to myself, that would be really good for me to go ahead and do that too, because for me, there's a lot of things I've been wanting to do, like write new music, learn new techniques, practice the drums more, because I bought a drum set several months ago and I barely touched the thing, and that's bad.
Yeah. The way we were just talking about music the other day, and like I think most people's problem that I find in my scenes is that they don't have the time or whatever. But yeah, you were the opposite. You had the time, so you just need to structure it. Yeah, exactly. So like, because I think if you structure it, then you'll get all those things you want.
Exactly. So. Yeah, and that's probably all something I'll start doing. And then also, like you just said, trying to get to where you write music like out of your comfort zone or instead of out of your home. And I think that would be good for me because since I'm in Austin now, I want to get out more. I want to go downtown and
then if they see you playing, somebody's gonna walk up to your ass.
Exactly. Exactly. I'm just gonna feel kind of like weird when somebody like sets change down by me, and I'm like, no, I'm just practicing. I'm just trying to write a song, dude. You can keep that.
Well, if you do it on the street, that's gonna happen. But if you do it at like I don't know, I don't know where someone would practice that, like a coffee shop or something.
That's where I figured at Joe's Coffee Shop on South Congress.
Maybe they'll give you their tip will be actual coffee.
Right, that would be nice. They're like, hey man, you're doing pretty good. I bought you a coffee. I'll be like, oh, I really appreciate that.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
said I'm probably gonna like start not playing so well, be shaking a little bit, but I'll try.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
But it's good. See, you just said shaking. What it trains you in is like getting rid of that self-awareness and stuff. Like, there's always like my last real full-time job, man, it was a call center. It fucking sucked ass. Horrible experience, yo. It's a shitty company, and I can go on negativity road for that forever. But the one thing it definitely at least enabled in me, and I think I've made it better with like things like these podcasts, was like, oh, I had to talk to people. I had to talk to people I don't know. I gotta talk to people I don't know a lot. And about a topic I also don't know. Like,
Yeah.
So it kind of just like, yo, you need to learn to talk. And that was probably a problem for my whole life. You know, just awkward in social situations and just not being able to talk and stuff. And now I like to think that I could kind of do it. So, yeah. So like,
Yeah.
that would like, if you're gonna shake just because like they gave you free coffee, like that might be good to even do it. You know,
it was more or less the caffeine and the coffee that made me shake.
Oh, got you.
For the most part, I try to stay caffeine free, but when it gets colder outside, I tend to drink more coffee and more tea like that. So
Does it help?
it's nice to be warm.
Okay. Oh, because it's hot.
drinks,
But I just meant like this coffee itself. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, not
Like-
coffee. Does the caffeine itself help in terms of temperature? That's why I thought I was thinking that way.
I bet it probably does. Increasing the heart rate keeps more friction and stuff like that in the body, more blood flow. So it wouldn't surprise me if it helps keep people warmer. But I wouldn't know exactly.
Does that if we ever fast the pulse, are we warmer? I mean, I don't know. I'm just asking out loud too. I don't even know if you know, but I'm like, I wonder if that's how that works.
Couldn't say honestly.
Because like I mean, now it's kind of easy for me to do. And again, this is Texas, so it's not like our cold showers or anything glorious or anything. But remember the first time I took a cold shower, you know, the first thing you do, you're hyperventilating essentially. But you train yourself to be like calm in that thing. So I would assume I'm calming my pulse in this extreme cold, you know, like, which is not extreme, but extreme at the time, you know?
Yeah.
And yeah, so I was just wondering, like, well, now if I'm breathing calm, like, if I'm being calm in this intense situation, like, how is that affecting me?
Yeah.
Yeah. This guy interrupting people's podcasts, dude.
Oh my god.
Trying to do fireside chats, rudely just opens the door.
Where's the red light outside?
Oh no.
Magnus put on the porch light before he left, right?
It's not red. No joke. This is the only fireside chat I've ever seen that actually has a fire.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. I told Magnus, like, yo, like, does this? I thought it was fake. Does this go on? And it does.
Yeah, I didn't even know it worked.
Yeah, and you live here.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm glad this it does work. I mean, I'm glad this happened. This is nice.
Yeah, no, this is badass. I was like, this is cool, because like that's the other cool thing about this, since I do it everywhere, like different environments. Like I think tomorrow I'm gonna do it at this artist's studio. She said it's a mess, but like all artists say their studio, like all visual artists say their studio is a mess, and you know what? They're actually right. But like they're actually right, because now I think about it, yeah, like they're actually right. Like Falcon Fuckers is a mess. There's another painter I know in San Antonio is a mess. You coming on? Come on, dude. I
cut her off.
I got a headset right there, dude. We got a third mic. We got
Split a bit.
Oh dear.
Look at this footage.
Video content for y'all.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
Well,
What's that?
Yeah, that's wild.
That's Magnus's probably costume, right? He told me that shit was coming.
Delivered right now.
You know,
Priority shipping.
anytime that doorbell rings.
It is like, right? It has to be it. Yes.
Yeah, you know, anytime that doorbell rings, it's not anybody we know.
It's some DHL bullshit.
I told you it was his, man. I told you it was his costume.
And it says it's for him.
I told you. Look, I know,
Always.
man. I know.
All right.
He was so excited for that time.
I'm so glad that I did it instead of him.
Like, he would have been like a little kid. No, what were you saying?
Oh God, I don't even remember. Probably just that doorbell never rings unless if it's somebody delivering something.
I didn't even know you had a doorbell. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Magnus was like, he was like, nah, you coming through the back. So we this is a no key house. This is
Yeah. God.
But yeah, I have no idea what we were talking about. But we mentioned Metallica a long time ago.
Oh yeah, we did.
And you say you started hating on the Black Album. So I'm curious. And then, so you don't like the hard rock stuff in 96. When they dropped Saint Anger, how angry were you?
Oh God. I guess I wasn't, because at that point I probably just stopped listening to them. And
I get it.
Because I get to that point where like I start to get fed up with the music and like,
Why are you killing, right? As a fan, like, why are you even doing it to yourself?
yeah, I guess I got to the point where I couldn't hate on them. I'm like, well, you're doing your own thing, so I just kind of just leave them where they lie and just leave them to the new fan base, or the fan base that's just appreciates them for who they are.
So have you heard that and Defag Magnetic? And honestly, I don't even know what the last one was.
Yeah,
I know it was like last year or two, but I really don't remember what it was.
I've heard the radio songs on them, and like I've listened to them, and I'm like, they're not bad, but I can't say that they progressed in any good way for me. So
I think you nailed it right there.
You know, they just like their style. It changed a little bit, but I can't say it changed for the good.
Yeah,
like you figure, you know, like they would like have more crazy guitar riffs as they went on, or would get a little bit more hardcore. But no, they just kind of sat back and just jammed, pretty much is how I pictured it. Like I know me and my buddies would get into a thing for a while where he'd just start playing the drums and I would just start playing random guitar riffs. And I feel like that's what they started doing.
Yeah, and Lars drum patterns, no offense, but like Lars drum patterns, like they have that vibe of what you just said. They definitely have that vibe.
And yeah, that's how I feel about Kirk Hammett and his guitar style writing. Is a lot of people try to say he just uses the wah pedal to make his solos and stuff sound good. And I haven't listened to enough to really judge him that well, but
I saw them weekend one, and I don't know if it was his effects or maybe somebody's tuning was off, but like it only sounded off when there's certain songs where they would do harmonies, and you know, the older ones essentially, they're little Iron Maiden moments.
Yeah,
and they would do harmonies, and I was like, my face literally went like, oh, like what? Like someone either hitting the wrong notes on purpose, or is not tuning, or maybe this is something different they do because they've been playing these songs for close to 40 years, so maybe he just doesn't want to do it no more. Like that. But it was only during the harmonies, because when they would play the riffs together, it didn't sound bad, but like they were doing something like where like I forgot that word with the I, the annotation, or however you say that word.
Yeah, intonation.
Intonation, like it just didn't sound good together, like both guitars.
Yeah.
And I was like, bad moment. Like overall the show was good, but when they would do the harmonies, it would be like, and I was like, ooh, like someone's not hitting it, or someone's like thing got detuned as they were playing and forgot to tune back or something.
Yeah, one of their guitar techs might have got fired.
Yeah, maybe. But I like, so me, like as a person who got into them, I grew up in hip hop, right? So I don't get into the other music until Napster and the world kind of like became way more easy, and that's when I got into other stuff. So I probably get into Metallica like maybe 1 or 2 years before they released Saint Anger, you know? Yeah. So like maybe 2000-ish or something. So I definitely loved the first 4, you know?
Yeah.
Master of Puppets was my favorite. And then like right away I can see why people don't like this Black Album. Because it's kind of like these 4 things, and then this Black Album happens, and it's like, whoa, what is this? You know? And then the stuff in 96, I'm like, whoa, it's not even the same band no more.
Yeah.
But so it's funny. The reason why I said you nailed it earlier, where they progressed or not for the better, or like something has changed. The thing that I would say about them, and this, I'm not a hardcore fan of them, and I'm not really paying too much attention, you know. So this is just me. I hear it and what I think, but I can probably listen to Black Album and stuff from '96, and I will like it.
Yeah.
And the stuff after that, I think the reason, especially like now, the reason why we might think it's bad is because I think at this point, and you can tell it from their live show, like how it's like kind of like greatest hits of the Yonder, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think now they're trying to do that because that's what the fans want
Yeah.
instead of doing what they want, you know? And
Yeah,
that's why I
exactly.
think like the stuff in '96, as hard rock as it might be,
Mm-hmm.
it's still what they wanted to do. So it's still like good. It may not be good for you, may not be good for me, but it's good for someone.
Exactly.
Versus this shit is probably not good for no one because now they're just trying to make thrash music because this is what everybody wanted because that's what everybody loved. But they're doing it not because they want it. And so many people have come and gone who really wanted to do it and are so much better that it's just like, you know, like, what is this half-ass shit? You know?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Did you ever get into Megadeth?
Yeah, I was actually just thinking about Megadeth like 5 seconds ago, and I was just
That's the
thinking about
universe.
how they didn't really switch up their style any. They kind of stuck solid. Dave Mustaine.
It's because there is a dictatorship. That's why.
Yeah.
Because it's Dave Mustaine.
Yeah,
It took me a while to realize that, but there is no Megadeth. There is only Dave Mustaine.
It's very true actually, and I've seen him where when I was still on Facebook, he was talking crap about like other musicians and newer bands, and I remember one specific he was talking.
Is he hating about like people today, like now? Or?
Yeah, he was talking trash on new metal. Specifically because he was upset that there was no guitar solos. He was like, "That's not metal music."
Oh, like when new metal like was on its rise, right?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's definitely Dave Mustaine. That's definitely
Yeah. And I was like, it's still good music. Not all rock songs need a guitar solo. I mean, especially for me being a progressive musician. I mean, which is kind of
the irony, right?
Yeah, kind of ironic to say since the whole songs are technically solos.
yeah, exactly.
But like, you know, then it also comes to the deal that the songs don't want to all have the same structure, you know, like typically the old school songs, they start off with your intro, verse, chorus, solo, and then maybe another chorus again, something like that, and then your outro. Like they usually stick to that same structure. And that was kind of something that I got old with, but I guess Dave Mustaine kind of did a little different. He usually had 3 solos in a song sometimes.
Yeah, like they're like a real interesting like and it's going off my memories because I haven't heard them in a while, but they're a real interesting case study because you could almost argue they do the same thing that Metallica did in the sense like Black Album's their sellout. Like I don't know which album is their sellout, but just that whole career they kind of do sell out. However, I think Metallica got so big with that Black Album that they spent 6 years touring. So by the time they do those albums in '96, like they are completely different people, and that's probably why you got this weird ass hot rock thing, you know. But they were doing like an album every 2 years, so you kind of get it kind of changes in increments versus like here's 1999's pop Megadeth, you know, like here's that, you know, like you were kind of ready because they were like just giving you the tip each time, just the tip, you know, like a little bit. I feel like they don't get hated on as much as for doing the same thing they did. Maybe because they just weren't as big.
Yeah, that might have been part of it. And I always thought those two bands were a funny thing. Like, one, because Dave Mustaine, you know, was originally one of the founders of Metallica.
I don't want to call him lucky because it's hard work. But that is amazing, right? To be, in terms of metal, because Megadeth isn't Metallica, but in terms of metal, Megadeth is just right up there next to them, you know?
Yeah.
To be in 2 of them shits, to like to be part of like 2 of the most important bands, that's fucked up. That's that's amazing, dude.
Yeah, that crap's impressive. Just kind of like a Ozzy Osbourne being in Black Sabbath and then doing his own thing.
To be honest, like if you start diving deep, because some people would be like, no, but you start looking at some of those credits, you hear some of the stories when James and people aren't angry at Dave, you know, it's almost the Black Album had to help him. Because a lot of that shit seems to be part of Dave Mustang's doing. Yeah, exactly. And the more they run out of what he did and that influence, the more they have to become maybe who they are. Yeah, and exactly. So those first 4 albums everybody loved, like kind of, even though he was only around for one of them, like they still credited on like less and less each time, but like there's a song here or a part here, you know, or the technique. that weird power chord technique. I think Dave calls it like the spider or some bullshit. But it's where you do, 1-3. If we're using fingers, like 1 and 3 would be the traditional how most people do their power chords. But then he would go with these other fingers, so you can get these da, 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 da sounds. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without having to slide up, you would just do it with
exactly.
that. Yeah. So like you get a lot of that was him. And it kind of makes sense that like the less he's in there, the more they become this thing, and then the bass player dies, and it's just like, well, why wouldn't they be something completely different? Like everybody's gone who created that thing you liked already, you know?
Exactly.
But and to me, like my prime Megadeth lineup, and it's probably gonna be this is 1990 through 99 when they get what's his face? Marty Friedman.
Yeah, Marty Friedman, yes.
I believe Nick Menza is on for most of that. He probably is the first one to leave. Probably wouldn't be surprised if he left in 97 or something, but I think Nick Menza. And then, even though Megadeth's really Dave Mustaine, to be honest, the bass player is also there for probably all but 1 or 2 albums. So he's almost, and it's only because they got into their little "we hate each other" argument too that Dave does with everybody in his life.
Yeah, it gets a little hot headed.
Yeah. But yeah, no, that like whole 1990 to 99, it's a lot of great stuff. Like
like Peace Sells.
Yeah, who's buying, man? Who's
Just classic.
that was good stuff. And then the other 2 bands from the Big Four are probably not as meaningful to me, which I believe are Anthrax and Testament. Am I right or no?
Yeah, and see, those were 2 that I never listened too much of. Like not even Anthrax.
Yeah,
I can't say I listened much of too, but yeah, they were definitely good out there.
Yeah.
So for them to make a name.
No,
and,
I mean,
and everybody
I
knows
just
them.
never got into them the way I did those 2. Like they just kind of had something that the other 2 didn't.
Yeah, exactly. And I guess by the point that Anthrax and all those other guys like kind of were making a name for themselves, that's around the time that Pantera was just making a huge name for themselves. And they kind of like got popular at a bad time. So like the newer bands coming out pretty much took over instead.
Pantera, like I've still have yet to fully get into either. Because
Really?
my rock and metal journey ended up being told through a lot of Japanese and Korean musicians. And then by the time I get into non-Asian rock, like I end up kind of sticking mostly to European stuff. So like I never got into these Boston bands. Like it took me forever. It's probably 'cause my friend just drugged me to all these shows. What's the famous one? Kill Switch and Gates.
Oh yeah.
I like them now, but he had to beat that shit into me.
Yeah.
None of those bands made sense to me. And same thing like Pantera. Like I liked Walk. But Walk was also the entrance music to like one of my favorite wrestlers in ECW,
Yeah.
Rob Van Dam. I don't know if you know who that is or not, but like, yeah, like so. But I like Cemetery Gates. It's like melody in there, but I think they're kind of like more heavier, and like I still like melody.
Yeah.
And like to me, like Pantera. Not that I've gone through their whole discography. I'm sure they got stuff, but like what I've heard, it seemed to be a lot rhythm based.
Yeah.
And not as much melody going on,
Yeah, I felt that way too for a while, and then at one point, I don't know why or how, I just decided. I think I remember now. I was trying to recall what song it was that I had heard when I was younger off of the Cowboys from Hell album, and I couldn't figure it out. So I ended up buying the whole album, and I listened to the whole thing, and I was like, oh my God, this whole album is actually really melodic and really good, especially since Philip Anselmo, he could sing on that album. Like he was hitting those high notes like in Cemetery Gates. He was hitting those notes in like almost all the songs on there. And I just thought that shit was badass, and that actually helped me a lot as a vocalist too. Was trying to fucking just belt those out on my drives to work, and I was like, man, if anybody heard me, they'd be laughing so hard. But just because they were the high notes, and they were like really into 80s glam metal when they made that album.
At some point, like I'll probably go back and revisit, but I think at this point right now, like I probably consume less music than ever before, because I still like doing it a lot, but I'm just not intaking a lot as much. I usually intake like podcasts now a lot these days, and I'm just trying to learn whatever it is, these little secrets for whatever, to try to make myself become that thing I've been trying to become for whatever.
Yeah.
But I feel like from the way you told it, this might not be the case, but like, cause it seems like you were just doing stuff when you were young and you got into stuff. But like, was there like a song or artist, band, group that like, oh shit, like I kind of would like to do that too, like to some type of moment? Cause like for me, like Dream Theater, when I heard Images and Words, and what's the other one? The two songs on Images, Metropolis. And Learning to Live. Do you know those songs or like?
Yeah, I know Metropolis.
Okay, both of those songs are the same in that they have these ridiculous instrumental sections, and those were the first times. First, now that I hear it now too, like, and this is a big thing with modern day Dream Theater. You hear those songs, they have instrumental sections. You hear Dream Theater now, they have solos.
Yeah,
you know, like, and that's to me, they aren't always engaging instrumental sections.
Yeah, exactly.
Like they're just long songs, but now there's a solo, and it's like that's cool, bro. But like those shits were like journeys, like Learning to Live and Metropolis. But anyway, going back to my original point, I heard that, and it's funny because like I still don't make nothing even close to that. But I heard those two things, and I was like, I never even imagined like that shit was possible at the time I heard it, and I was like, this would be fucking cool to do this, you know, and still haven't done it. But like
exactly.
But you know, I just heard that, and it was just kind of like fucking mind fucked me. I was like, I didn't know this was possible. Like this is crazy. So like, was there like and that's what makes me even start playing guitar, and that's what I was trying to say. So like, was there like a song that like, oh shit, this is amazing, wouldn't this be cool to do yourself, you know? Yeah,
I would like to say like the initial song or starter one for me before I really knew anything about guitar was like Thunderstruck by AC/DC. Like,
oh shit,
like just
I'm
that
write
intro
that down just so I could hear it, because I wouldn't be surprised if I've heard it, but I don't know AC/DC like by name.
Yeah, it's such a super simple riff. Like it's so easy to play that I could play it in my sleep now.
Can you hum it? Maybe I know it.
It's like down. Oh,
is that song?
Yeah.
Yeah, I know that song.
Yeah, it's like super simple. I mean, he plays it one-handed every time he does it, and he's just, you know, rocking out. And I thought that was the coolest shit. Like before I really knew how to play,
like legato playing. He said he does it.
Just like hammer-ons and off,
pull-offs and stuff.
And I thought that was so cool. And eventually, like, I listened to AC/DC enough, like when I was in elementary and early junior high, that I overplayed them for myself. And all of a sudden, right as I was done listening to them, everybody else was trying to listen to them around me. And I was like, whatever. I was like, they suck. Like, just completely just turned it around and threw them in the trash. But
that's funny.
But no, after that was when I started to get into like 90s alternative, like Nirvana and Alice in Chains, and I fell in love with Nirvana a little too hard. Like just about everything Kurt Cobain did, I just was like, oh, but that's great. Like even stuff that sounded like garbage, like because I'd listened to some of his old demos and stuff like that he had, and
there was a lot of re-releases when he died, man. Oh my gosh, like with demos and all this, the special box sets and everything.
Yeah, that special box set was the one that I was listening to, and there was some stuff that just sounded so terrible, and I found the art in it. I was like, oh, that sounds cool.
It's cool. Yeah, no, if you're a fan of that or you're creative yourself, it's kind of cool though to hear those things.
Yeah.
Are there like songs? Not all the time, but it's still kind of cool to have them there available.
Yeah, exactly, and I fell in love with his style and just I tried to do what he was doing for a while. And of course, he was already long dead and gone by the time I was doing it. But But that, between his guitar style and his voice too, especially, I was trying to mimic that a lot.
It's funny you say his guitar style, because a lot of people, I feel like, love to hate on him because they're simple songs, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they really were. And like that kind of helped me like get into songwriting too, was his simple songs. I was like, okay, so writing music is simple.
Yeah. And
like in a way it is, but now that I'm getting more technical with it, it's like I'll kind of start my songs off the bass the same way, just like a few chords here and there, and I'll decide now whether I want to make them minor, major, diminished, or whatever. Damn. And then I'll just straight up take those chords and I'll separate them and just
That's your creative process? That sounds like so hardcore. That sounds like compared to me, because it's like I just either I feel like less and less because I don't allow myself to do this no more. But like I either hear it in my head and I'll start playing it, or I can make something happen. But like my mind, I've not. What's the word? Like I'm aware of things. I know I'm not gonna say people love saying they don't know music theory, dude. But fuck you, like they kind of do.
yeah.
But I mean, like, so like I'm not gonna say that. Like, and I do understand it for me, but I don't understand it enough to be like, man, this shit needs a diminished score, like.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though I may arrive at that same conclusion.
Yeah.
I would, like,
yeah, and I'm the same way. Like I don't necessarily know like all the chords and all that, and I can't memorize the sounds they have, but like say I'll start by just like hitting the single strings of the main note that I'm going to.
Yeah.
And I'll start turning them into chords, and I'll get to this one chord. Maybe it's like the last chord of the 4, on a 4/4 tempo.
Yeah.
And I'll sit there and I'll go through like chords like just by sound rather than knowing what chords they are. And I'll sit there and I'm like, no,
that's
no.
definitely
and then
more me.
And I'll find the chord and I'm like, oh, that's it. And then I'll have to go through a chord library to figure out what chord that is and to figure out how I can use that up and down the fretboard just like by looking.
That's the thing. That's where we stop. I don't look at it at the chord library. And I feel like when I was really younger and ambitious, I would try that stuff. But I think to go back to before, it made it so boring that like I just had to stop. Like because now I was just doing it to do it because I want to be good, right? Yeah, and it just didn't fun no more. So I just kind of make shit and have fun with it, and like that's how I get better. But sometimes, man, I play these things and I'm like, whatever shape I come up with, and I record it, and I'm like, man, granted, it'd be great to be famous and have to play it again, but I'm like, if I ever have to play this song again, I don't know what the fuck I did here. Yeah. I'm like, it sounds nice though, but I'm like, and I could probably play something of it, but like, like if it's a riff, I'll figure it out. But I mean, like, if it's a chord, I'm like, I'm gonna get something that gets you that. I don't know if it's gonna be that though. There's too many notes going on. Who knows what I did? Might have used the capo.
Yeah,
knows,
exactly. Like I was writing this song before I left to Thailand, and I was getting kind of stressed out with my playing for a little bit, so I was like, all right, I'll set it down. I'm about to leave anyways, and I had these set of chords, and then I wrote a solo over it, and I had the solo memorized, like just straight dead on, and I sat there and practiced that solo for so long and never played the chords that were behind it that once I got back here, I was like, all right, time to practice that solo some more and let's slow the tempo down. So I'll replay the chords over a different slower tempo. And I went to go play the chords and I realized I forgot. So I had to sit there for a minute and try to think about what those chords were. And it took about 10 minutes, but I finally got them back together.
I don't know if I did. I heard most of what you were saying, but it just kind of pinged in my head. Like, this is an old ass song I made, right? I made an old ass song, and I had like 5 or 6 people solo on it because I was like, I can't solo, and I'm like, just do something good, and they all did trash. Like, it was just trash, and because I think they let the fact that they didn't maybe like the song or the music or it's not their thing, instead of just like doing a solo, like because real people, whether they like it or not, you can still do it. You can get it out. I ain't say play God's gift on this thing. I just said like give it like a decent solo, and it was just all trash. It's all trash. Yeah. So I'm like, yo, man, because you're over here like talking about soloing, like hearing the chords and stuff. I'm like, yo, I don't know if I have it upstairs. I might, because it's an old song and I don't always keep the old stuff on me.
Yeah, exactly.
But I'm like, yo, I need to fucking check that. I need to, like, because I'm like, yo, We will plug that in. And you will solo on that.
Fucking finally give it the justice it deserves.
I just want one solo on it, dude, and then then I'll finish it at some point, and fuck yeah, dude. I'm like,
yeah, and watch him get up there and be like, oh yeah, no, I don't want to play sofa. This is nah.
yeah, I know. I'll be like, yo, another
He's like,
one.
oh come on, man.
This sucks ass.
He's like, you know what? Wads it up.
Yeah, but I gotta do that. Definitely gotta do that.
Yeah, for
But
sure.
yo, I got these life questions I ask everybody,
Okay,
so I'm gonna hit you with those, and then we will wrap it up.
nice.
Nope, that's not it. All right, here we go. What do you think? What do you believe that people think you're crazy for believing?
Let me think here.
Yo, I feel like 95% of the people that I asked that, maybe even 100, but I think 95 is probably a good one, that I asked that question all say that. It's quite amazing.
Yeah,
I might be the best question I ever asked.
I know.
Let me think. It stuns. I'm like, wow, like that's pretty impressive.
The one that I catch most people thinking I'm crazy for is the fact that I don't watch any sports like football, basketball, or any of that mainstream stuff, UFC, and I don't watch movies. Like,
Wait, damn, not movies either.
yeah, like I just don't like. It's I don't know. One, movies are too long. They drag out the plot, and I just can't sit there through it. I'm like, okay, I got to do something else. Like I start feeling like I'm
Watch
wasting
TV
time.
shows.
Yeah, I do, and that's usually
Can you
because
watch
the
1
plot.
hour shows? Like I'm like just kind of gauge
Yeah.
like what is the time medium for you?
Yeah, like I watch TV shows and I watch episodes consecutively or almost binge watch, but usually I watch them before bed just to wind down and just like fall
If
asleep.
you could
But-
binge watch, that's a movie. That's longer than movies. That's
yeah, but it seems things happen faster. And like, and also if like I'm on an episode or something where I'm seeing, it seems like they're just trying to like make time in their season. I'll just like skip the entire
That's
episode.
why I don't like TV. I still like my whatever TV I like, but I mean like that's why I hate on TV shows a lot for what you just said. Because sometimes they need to kill time to fill the order.
Exactly. That's why I love Netflix and Hulu and streaming services. They're very nice.
That's funny. Like but when you started off with sports, I would almost feel that would come from primarily males, like other men being like crazy for not liking this, you know?
Yeah, and like I think the biggest deal for me on that is like when you're watching sports, you're watching somebody else go out and live their life and be trying to be successful. And that kind of bothers me that everybody does that and they're like, "Oh yeah, we won." I'm like, "No, they won.
Yeah.
Like, you didn't do shit. You sat there on the couch and drank beer and watched them and yelled at them, and they couldn't hear you." But and like it's good to give them support and all that. Like that's all good, but it's just like never one of the things I really cared for. Like even like I'm into like motocross and like MotoGP and like.
Can you watch that or no?
And I can watch it. But
You don't
I
sound
still
too happy
get
that you
I still get bored. Like I'm like now great now. I want to
Because
be out
Ian
there
and
doing
Logan
it.
were ready for that Thailand race, dude.
Yeah. See, and that would have been cool to do to go watch that. But especially since I was in Thailand at the time, I would have loved to have been there. But
Because they were ready to watch that. They were enjoying like the pre-race commentary and everything. I went back to sleep, but I mean, like,
yeah,
But that's why I was curious. But damn, so even that doesn't do it for
even
you?
that it's like if I'm gonna watch that, I'm gonna watch it for like pointers and techniques and see what they're
Well,
doing.
you see,
Or the super exciting moments where some crazy shit
so
happens.
that's something that I feel like similar. I have similar. So like growing up, I did like all the sports pretty much, except hockey. I don't know, man. That's a thing. But anyway, but growing up, I did like all the sports, right? But I noticed my father died. I don't remember when, but let's just say 06, probably around there.
Okay.
Minute he died, like I'm Puerto Rican. Baseball is a big thing, you know, for Puerto Rico. Minute he died, I just never watched baseball again. I was like immediately just lost interest. I just just lost interest. Football eventually won down. Basketball I kept watching though. But I played basketball.
Yeah.
So like even though I was like, I never had a team. People would always ask a team, right? But I just like watching all of it because I literally just love basketball. So
Yeah, exactly.
I couldn't do everything they could do, but it's the same thing. I would still take some. If someone did something really cool, man, I would fucking rewind that shit forever. And even if I could never do it, I would still just try to do it on the court. But like, man, pretty much like after 23 or whatever, I just it was around the same time where I said I gained a bunch of weight because I think I was just doing the wrong stuff. So like I was might have been in shape for the wrong thing. It wasn't basketball, you know what I mean? But yeah, my knees would start hurting and like it was a lot. So I started playing less and less and less. And then once I got to the point, I don't know if I want to say a couple, but it's always a couple. Who knows what it is? It might be 5 now or something. But like, I really don't play basketball right now. Like it's probably been like on a birthday of a friend who that was part of his birthday thing to play basketball, you know, like or like some special ass occasion like that. But I really don't play basketball right now. And like once I stop playing, I'm like, I just can't watch this shit no more. Because now I'm not even doing it no more. It's funny you said the thing about the living of the lives part because so I would hear that a lot when like, why you like watching people play games or something, you know, like because I would watch a lot of fighting game turns like the game Street Fighter and stuff. But that shit again is something I love. But now that I don't do it anymore. Now I can kind of only show up for like it needs to be like the bigger ones. I can't watch this shit every Tuesday. It's like
exactly.
If all the best of the best are there, like that's usually now when I'm interested. If the best of the best are there, then I'm like, oh wait, what's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
But if Steve, Bob, Mike, and Joe are there, who might be famous, you know, like or let's keep it a professional thing, you know, like if the Knicks are playing. The Spurs, no, not the Spurs, but like, cause but they're not gonna be good, but they were like Knicks, and let's just say the Nets. Those are two teams from New York who suck ass consistently. They're very good at sucking ass.
Nice,
you know, very good.
Good,
so like,
good at something.
Yeah. So yeah, right. So those teams, right, and one of them's they're Brooklyn, and that's how removed I am. I was Brooklyn Nets, not even New York Nets, but anyway, yeah, like if those two teams are playing, fuck you, dude, I ain't got time for that, you know? Like,
exactly.
Like it needs to be, and it's like it doesn't even need to be like the champions, because sometimes the way those things are made, even though the championship might be there, those doesn't mean you're the best. You know what I mean? So like I won't even show up for that. I mean, I need the actual literal best playing each other for me to show up, because that you see that a lot in it's funny you mentioned UFC. Like I was a big MMA fan, even though I never did MMA. We did some bootleg. It wasn't like, I guess it'd probably be jiu-jitsu. We did some very bootleg street jiu-jitsu growing up, like in high school. Like again, some of the things like, and we all have our high school stories. I'm like, some of the things I'm like, what the fuck were we doing? Yeah, because like we totally would be dead, you know, like we because I'm like, man, if this thing didn't happen or that thing didn't happen, like I should have broke my neck or I should have done this, and I didn't. But I mean, like, man, but yeah, we would do this bootleg jiu-jitsu. So maybe just from me sort of like fighting these kids and doing that stuff, and like I probably won like 6-1. I even have a record. You know what I mean? Like, the only guy who beat me was the guy who actually showed me that whole world and actually practiced it. So yeah, like I had no chance. At that point in time, I didn't know that, but like it's only now, like as an older person, like, oh yeah, I had no chance of beating this kid. This kid was literally doing this shit daily. I understand. Like, I was just a dude who was a fanatical and like could make some moves happen. You know, like, but he really knew what was up. Yeah. He schooled me for out, and I had this never give up spirit. So like he just had me in submission holds for like, oh my god, what might have been 30 minutes to an hour, like, because he didn't want to break my arm because he's nice.
Exactly. He's like, no, not today.
He was just very nice, because someone else, like if it was like pro level shit, I would have got my arm broken, you know, because that's what you do, you know, like, but yeah, no, I loved it growing up, but like, again, like you stop doing it. And then the way like certain things came, but like you just said UFC, even though that's not a sport, that's an organization. Yeah. But they monopolized it so much that it's UFC, you know? Like, yeah, exactly. And once they kind of owned everything, it became dramatically less interesting. And And then like I love MMA too much that I can still talk a lot about. But like I think what happened with MMA that pissed me off, and you see it in everything, music and everything. The beauty of the internet is we can learn everything. Or like for someone like me, like I did it early on, but now the world, like I was hearing K-pop like in 1999, like Korean pop music, but like now the world caught up. It's easy. You can literally hear it normal YouTube. You don't gotta try and like go through Korean websites like I had to, right? So everybody has access to it. But because everybody has access to everything, like kind of everything starts to sound the same, right? And the same thing happened with MMA. To me, I would say like, and I'm sure if you love it, maybe you can see these intricacies, man, but like, I would probably say like 70 to 90% of the fighters all fight the same because a lot of people just learn MMA and they don't really have a style that they came from anymore, to make them really different.
Yeah.
And like when I was coming up, and I don't even mean the 90s, yes, the 2000s and late 2000s, you would still see these people. Once they started fighting in MMA, they got to learn everything. But they still had a background in karate, still had a background in jiu-jitsu. So like they still had a style they clinged to versus a lot of people now are just, they're all these hybrids. And because they're hybrids, they're just, it's kind of boring unless they're an extreme athlete and then they kind of, they're a monster. And then they can still kind of do these things that no one else can do. And that has more to do with them than what they even learned,
Yeah, exactly.
So,
yeah. And I definitely agree with you. On all that. Like I probably would enjoy watching fighting more if people had more of a certain style or something into it.
Yeah, like it to me usually only the top, and that's why they're at the top have a style. But everybody else, man, like there's a lot of big strong dudes. And this is for the heavier weight classes now, but like there's a lot of big strong dudes who just take up fighting because they think they're big and strong too. There's less and less of it now because now they learn their lesson. Yeah, but. Yeah, and definitely in the time I was involved in, just the same way like they would put tall people in basketball. There's a lot, and you just see this waste,
Exactly.
But anyway, let me get this. Did you even get to answer that question? Yeah, you did, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, you did. Because sometimes, that's I've gotten better at like I like to let the other person talk. But man, like if you make the mistake of bringing up something I like, and if I can just go.
Boom.
I can just. Oh yeah. And I can even still go on. I part of me still wants to just tack you on this TV show set, like in movies, but whatever.
Yeah, I will admit about the only TV shows I do watch are like anime shows.
You watch also those anime things yours or Logan's or?
Those are Logan's, but I do enjoy that he had those up.
Yeah.
Because that was like a bunch of Attack on Titan stuff that somebody local. I think.
Do you like Attack on Titan?
Oh yeah,
I love Attack on Titan season 1. I've not seen season 2.
Season 2 is good.
I refuse to watch season 2 because I already, 1, it's only half the length of season 1.
Yeah,
and then 2, it just. I already know like the system. I've been around this game 2 months. I was like, oh, it's gonna take forever for me to get this whole story. I will come back many years from now. We'll have grandchildren or something.
Yeah,
and then I'll come back because I saw Naruto. I started watching Naruto when I was in high school, dog. And this motherfucker's show didn't finish till like I have a degree and like all this. And I was like, never again am I gonna invest myself in some shit. That's novella status.
I'm actually working on that one right now.
What?
Naruto.
Literally the Naruto, not even Shippuden. Like,
I'm actually on Shippuden now. Yeah, I finished the regular Naruto, and I'm like halfway through, or 3/4 of the way through Shippuden. And
it's funny, Logan teased like the fact that he was a nerd before he came, but I didn't even touch on that shit. That's fucked up.
Yeah.
Dude, you watch. All right, so hold up. Do you watch the what are they? Do you watch filler episodes in Naruto, or do you skip that?
I skip. I've been skipping them a lot.
You have to. It's trash. Dog.
Yeah,
it is.
It
trash.
really is. Like I'm just like, all right, get back to the storyline.
I wish I wrote it down because I feel like some people don't believe me when I say it. But my favorite dumb moment in a filler was pick a Naruto fight, right? And then just pick whatever your favorite villain or fight, and all this amazing shit happens, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think, there is a filler arc, and walking down a mountain, and whatever the bad guy was, he knocks him in the back of the head with a rock. And I was like, that's all it takes?
Yeah.
That's all it takes. What is all this shit going on that takes 25 episodes?
Yeah. Yeah.
Somebody grab that rock and then
Hit that guy. Like, God, why did you have to drag this out?
I was like, I think I saw that. I don't even know if I finished that episode. I think I was like, I'm done. I think I was trying hard too. I was trying to hang with it. I was like, I like this show, but I was like, I'm done. I can't buy a rock. This man wants to be Hokage.
Yeah.
And he just lost to a rock.
Yeah.
Like, that's grounds for no.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
banned. He can't be a Hokage.
That's happened several times in the show, and I just was like, I was like, come on, man. Like, seriously?
It's because they're in the main stories and they're fighting these gods, but now when they fight Steve in the filler arc, it's like, well, now they bring him down to the level of Steve.
Yeah,
and
it's
I'm like,
what
no.
happened? No, that makes no, like, how? Yeah, sometimes I'll just throw a fit in my room, just like, I'm like, no, this is bullshit.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I can't. Yo, my friend, and I have this cosplayer friend in the Valley. She watches all that shit and like love. Like, there's like nothing wrong any of those shows. And at this point, I don't even talk to her about it no more because I'm just like, all right, that's what you like. But I don't know how anyone can take that shit. I don't know how anyone can take it. It's just trash, dude. Like, it's just trash.
Yeah.
It is gutter trash. Where are you on Shippuden?
Right now, I'm at the Great Ninja War, which is apparently a long and drug out deal. And they've thrown so many filler episodes in there too, and I've been having to skip those. Like last night, I think I skipped 2 episodes.
Yeah, even in between the war, there's still.
Yeah, I was like, what happened? I was like, we were on a war, and Logan's brother Dylan was over, and he was watching some of it with me, and he was like, what happened? We were in a war, and I was kind of dozing off.
And now there's a dream state or some shit.
I was like, oh yeah, and it got sidetracked onto like one character just because the episode before they had that character for a moment,
yeah.
And then all of a sudden it shows you some of their story, and I was like, no, that's irrelevant. Skip.
I understand like the reason for it in real time is because they got to give the manga time to finish.
Yeah.
But still, like as a viewer experience, like it is trash. Like, so that's why I just kind of rather stay away. So like I love the Attack on Titan like season 1. I think it's funny. It's like it's 26 or so, but I feel like there's only like 2 or 3 real big stories in there, and they're like strung out and they're told real good, man. But I was like, once it, like at the time, I think I didn't know nothing about it. I'm watching it, 26 happens. I'm like, oh, there's still gonna be more. But kind of once I realized like, oh, like even before season 2 came out, I realized like, oh, this is gonna be a thing.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I don't want to join this thing. I don't want to be on this ride. And then this is me like maybe this is me as a creative, like thoughts, because maybe this shouldn't be in the thoughts of the person looking to be entertained. But like, I think what they did at that time and that year, whenever that year was that show came out, great, top tier. But I think when you try to continue that story, that shit came out last year, maybe 2 years ago. Oh. Probably 1 or 2 years ago, season 2 came out. Yes, 1 or 2 years ago, because I remember texting this girl I met in Hawaii, who I don't know anymore. But yeah, that's the only reason I know, because that was the year I went there. But anyway, before I keep talking about that, so that's it. And I'm like, I didn't see it, so to be fair, it's an unfair statement, but I almost feel like whatever they do on there will not be as revolutionary as it was then, because everybody's had a chance to rip them off and do it in their show now. You know what I mean? So it's almost like not new anymore. You know what I mean? And that's kind of an unfair thought, like especially since I haven't seen it. But I think those are the thoughts I have as a creative. Like, man, that needed to be all told then because it was revolutionary then and it was innovative then. Yeah. Now it's just, it's a long ass show, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I would like to say so, but honestly, I have seen season 2 and I played the games for it. I'm not a big gamer, but I did play the games.
You must love this shit.
Well, the game seemed interesting because, you got fucking little jetpacks with grappling lines where you can shoot and fly across and you're fucking cutting giant monsters.
You say you're not a big gamer, though, you said, right?
Yeah.
So, like, historically, I was a big gamer. I was. And I still follow it probably because of that. It was such a big part of my life that even though I follow it little now, like, I probably always going to follow it every little bit here and there. But that was probably my first love, honestly. But anyway, anime games have historically been trash ass, like
Really?
dog shit, historic. So like right there, that's why I see that game and I think trash. It even looks like like graphically, it looks like compared to what was coming out in that same time
Oh
year.
yeah,
Yeah.
there was a bunch of stuff they could have did better. The second game was a lot better than the first one. It was pretty much just a remake of the first game, which was kind of disappointing since I beat both of them. But but
I mean, as long as you
I
like it and
agree.
enjoy the experience, that's it. But just historically, yeah, like those are things I have to stay away from. They always
the only
are not good.
the only ones that were good were the Dragon Ball Z ones.
Which
they were-
one?
I
I think I already know. I'm just stereotyping you into an American, but like,
I'll go with my favorite one was on PlayStation 2, and it was
yeah, I knew you were gonna pick these.
Dragon Ball Z Budokai Tenkaichi 2.
Yeah.
That exact one.
I'm sorry. Just like just you telling me you come from a small town and you're American. You know, like I
Yeah.
just kind of
I don't even care. That game was so.
No, there's
damn
nothing wrong
fun.
with that. I was like, I bet you it's these. You know,
Yeah.
like this whole series,
Yeah.
one of these games in that series. You know.
Yeah, pretty much from the original Budokai to that one, and then when I got my PlayStation 3, I played that what is it, the Xenoverse. That one was.
Did you like those?
Yeah,
That seemed cool.
Yeah, that was actually pretty
Yeah,
neat.
yeah.
It's a totally different concept on the whole game, which I liked.
Yeah, because it's like a one player story type game versus fighting game.
Yeah, versus you going through
Can't believe I said
the storyline
Yeah.
over and over again. Yeah, because
So my main game, like growing up, I played everything, but I guess they always had a special place because even when I got to college, I'm like, yo, I can't do this no more. And the
Yeah.
only games I fought, fighting games. You heard me brought up Street Fighter,
Yeah.
fighting games. So the fighting game has a lot of stereotypes, and one of them and just things and old rules we cling to, and one of them would be like those games. You know, like definitely aren't the traditional fighting game like the boot. So like for someone like me, I was just like, what the fuck is this? I didn't want no part of that shit. So they might be good games, but I was like, this is not a fighting game. I don't know what to do with this. You know, you can, and then they keep doing like, you know, their updates, their yearly updates or whatever.
Yeah.
So I was like, the original, I feel like for a time, because now there's so many, but for a time, a lot of people over here who, once we got into import gaming, was a Japanese PlayStation 1 only released Dragon Ball Z game. It might have been called Ultimate Battle 22, but they had 3 PlayStation games, so I might be naming the wrong one. But it was a one-player game like Xeno with a
Xenoverse.
yeah, like that one. But you were telling the story of Dragon Ball Z. As one player, you told the story of Dragon Ball Z, and you fought in these 3-on-3 teams. And you know, you would just do the moments of, you know, like Vegeta comes and blah blah blah.
Yeah.
And not Piccolo, who's the Cell and Frieza and
Yeah.
Boo, basically. You do that
Yeah.
journey. And a lot of us really like that. I don't believe there was a 2-player mode in that one. But the other 2 games, and even if you go back to Super Nintendo Dragon Ball Japanese games, like they all kind of still follow that same format, you know, limited to the technology of the time, but that same format that Budokai has. Like even when they're one-on-one, like you're always charging, you can always charge the meter and all that. And have you played or seen what's the current one? Shit, I don't know.
The current. Oh, yeah. And that where they're doing the same battle. What was that?
See that one I follow because that's a fighting game. So
Yeah.
that one's in the fighting game culture.
Yeah.
But I did the 3-on-3 fighter.
Exactly.
I don't know what it's called.
And see that.
That's fucked up. That's fucked up. Like, I can't believe I don't know what
remember
it's
it
called.
either. And I've actually played
Dragon Ball Fighters. That's
Yeah.
what it is. Fighters.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm curious because a lot of us kind of suspected, and we were right, that the traditional Dragon Ball fan was going to hate this game because it's a fighting game. And
Yeah.
what happens with fighting games is that fighting gamers play it, and they come here and they ruin your good time by fucking you up.
Yeah.
Because they know it too well. But yeah, I was just and it's just so different from the version they were used to.
Yeah, exactly.
So, but yeah, what did you think about that one? Like, I'm just curious.
I guess personally for me, it was kind of one of those deals that it seemed boring because for fighter games, for me, it was like, you're doing that one-on-one deal. I'm like, I got it in my
It's
room.
one-on-one, but it's 3-on-3 one-on-one.
Yeah, 3-on-3 one-on-one. But like my roommate at the time had gotten that game, and he really liked it and was playing it for a while. And he was like, "Oh yeah, and this and that. I've learned some moves and gotten good at it." And I got on it and I started to play, and I was like, "Okay." It took me a minute to get away from the game I was used to, like literally 1 minute, and then like I got into where I was like, "Okay," and I was playing with that left to right combat mode, and I started beating him, and he was like, "What the hell?" I was like, "Yeah." I was like, these games are like, the controls are all pretty basic, and it gets old a little quick for me. That's why I kind of like the first person view, to where you're like going all over the place and doing stuff like that.
Though those games,
free roam, I guess, is what I enjoy.
There is a lot of high level. If you start playing that at the pro level, like those games get pretty ridiculous.
Oh yeah,
real fast. But that's the first time, I guess, definitely in the modern era, because I don't know, maybe those Super Nintendo games qualify, but really they don't. But that the first time where the fighting game fans especially considering Dragon Ball is like always a popular thing in that culture, and it's a fighting anime, that they get a real fighting game, not this third person stuff that you were talking about.
Yeah.
So overall, it was good. However, like, and this goes into deeper fighting game politics that I don't want to get into, because you don't follow that, but it was kind of like the marking of like of a company saying, "Hey, we're gonna make these games simple." Like,
yeah.
And so it's cool. Overall, it's good. But like, man, I remember playing it the first time, and I was like, man, really? That's it? Like, everything is simple, because the Dragon Ball fan base isn't a fighting game fan base.
Yeah.
So they kind of limited some stuff, and a lot of the fighting games. That's why it kind of echoed me, is that a lot of them have gone that way. The only popular fighting game that hasn't gone that way is Tekken. For some reason, it's just as depending on how you want to describe. I think the only people that would call Tekken simple are the people who play Tekken. But but yeah, like, it's just as Tekken-y as it's always been. Like, it hasn't dumbed down yet. It's adding some things that are maybe from the modern era, but like, it hasn't dumbed down yet. But man, Dragon Ball has one button combos. Street Fighter has done things to facilitate itself to the normal person.
I was about to say Mortal Kombat's still kind of stuck around the same.
Yeah, they have a different fan base. Like, so I wouldn't say they've made their things simpler, but they were always different. They do, instead of doing down and forward motions and stuff, they were like down back or like it would always be a direction. It's never a swing, or they would be like forward back, like things that were very not Street Fighter.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, it's just different with them. They haven't, and again, because I watch these games at like higher level, they're not like, because people who, like, some of these people make their living, and even if they don't make their living off the game, they're still playing, they're still putting in their 40 hours a week.
Yeah, exactly.
So I'm watching the game from like that perspective. So like, no, those I wouldn't say they've dumbed down. They did force the market to do something that probably no one wanted to do though. The people, it's called NetherRealm, NRS. They own Mortal Kombat, obviously, but they also own the DC fighting games. And what they pioneered, and they still to this day have the best story mode for a fighting game. Because what they do is you're pretty much watching a movie, and every chapter you play a character.
Yeah.
And no one has come close to matching that in terms of like a one-player thing. And I think it's like they really know how to make a fight, because fighting game really is just me, you. I don't need nothing else.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
That's why that's probably why they don't really work in the they don't blow up the way everybody wants them to blow up. Like it's just me and you, and we're fighting, and they don't have the other stuff that makes things go to the $1 million level, like Fortnite. But Mortal Kombat as a package, retail package, like that company is just genius. Like they just. And same thing with the DC games, like whether they're good games or not, because a lot of people they like to call Injustice 1 Injustice. But they're still just packaged like, yo, you don't go to tournaments, you don't do this, but there's just so much shit to do in this game that isn't just you beating this thing, you know? Like they fill that fucking disc up with shit. And so and it's not even like all bad shit. Like it's just stuff to do like that can still be interesting. And like none of the other companies, that's what's fucking other companies up. Because now maybe instead of making good quality games, now they're trying to find their fluff to get the mainstream fan in.
Yeah.
And I think they just happen to own two titles that attract an audience, and thus they're serving it correctly. Because Mortal Kombat probably is in its own way, it's as legendary as Street Fighter, and it does attract the other audience, you know, maybe who doesn't like Street Fighter. And DC is attracting comic book people, you know?
Yep,
so
exactly.
They just, I think, happen. But to have those actual fighting games and then they're trying to get that same market, it's just not going to work. But
yeah.
But I can talk about that forever. I've done that.
I know we got to close that topic before.
Because I will. That shit's a passion. That shit's a passion. You guys bike. Yeah. I don't fight games no more, but that shit is in me. That shit is if you were rich, how would you live your life?
Luxuriously.
What does that mean?
Actually, chances are I would probably continue to live my life similar to how I do it now, but I would just travel more. And of course, I would obviously have a lot more music equipment. And I would probably spend less time working. I would probably still work, as a matter of fact. I would probably have to do some form of work.
Agnes said the same shit.
Like, I don't know, maybe that, or I would just get out enough that that I didn't need to work. But like me with my body, I feel like I have to get out and do something all the time. But definitely I would be working on music a lot more and traveling the world a lot more. So that is definitely for sure.
One of the things you said, and everybody got their own goals and shit, but one of the things you said that like, and I think I even echoed it already, but you said you would have a lot more equipment. And who knows, like maybe I would too. Like if anything, I would probably just have my studio suit set up. But I feel like the way we are currently, and like at least for me, like I think I got caught up. That's why I'm selling everything, because I got caught up in getting equipment instead of making stuff. I have one friend but he's also a curious case, because he's the only person that I'm like, he can almost be justified. But he using, not even me saying this, he said he has over $10,000 of equipment in his room. You know, he's built up the monitors, everything, keyboards, all this shit.
Oh yeah.
And but so for most people, I probably am criticizing them, but I'm not trying to. But it's just because most of us are trying to make it, but we get caught up buying shit instead of making shit, that we never are doing the act of trying to make it because we're never making it.
Exactly.
You know? The only thing though with that guy who did spend all that money, he's a weird case, because I just feel like, and from the answers he's given me, I just feel like he just literally just likes the thing. And I don't think, like, I think if it wasn't for someone else who he does hold in high value, like he did finally put out an album, and it does sound good, because the guy who mixed it for him he works in LA, like that's his business. It's just he's a mixing engineer, so it does sound good. But I think if it wasn't for that guy convincing him to release that, like he still would have nothing else. So he doesn't even have the ambition to make it. So I'm like, all right, I think of all of us, you do get to buy all this shit, because I think you just literally like the process. Yeah. I don't even think you ever want to make it. Like he doesn't play live, he doesn't do nothing. So it's just, but everybody else, all my friends are like, we won't make it. Like you saw, I got a phone call, man, talk to me on everything, and then like I know that's the dude who wants to make it, but like that dude would be a better example, because that dude, normally I talk to people and they don't make shit. That dude probably has close to 40, maybe 50 hours of music. I'm not even lying, that he's made, like in his hard drive. I used to say 24 hours, but like he told me that 3 years ago. I'm like, and he still makes shit. So it's no longer just 24. You know, we're getting to day 2 now, you know?
Yeah, no shit.
But he only has like two albums released. And I'm like, what are you doing? I'm like, why are you not putting this out there? All I hear is you want to make it, but you keep it in your hard drive. You know? Like,
yeah, exactly.
So that's usually like the problem I'm used to from people. Like it's just never releasing it. But yeah, no, I was just saying, like, I feel like sometimes we just get lost in equipment, because I've had that happen to me. I had a Sub Fatty. Like, you know anything about the keyboards or no?
A little bit.
Well, yeah, it's made by Moog. So it's a sexy instrument. It is cool. It is cool.
Yeah.
Like I know these things are cool. You know,
Feels nice, keeps feel good and real.
No, it's a synth. So it's like just an awesome mono synth, like great for bass and bass, like sub bass and stuff.
Yeah.
And just getting like cool analog gear sounds. You know, like you ever been to Switchdown here?
No.
Even though it's not your thing, you should just go once. Like to be honest, I've never been inside because they close at 6 p.m. and I'm like, you guys are crazy. You know,
yeah, that's
but
wild.
I know why, because it's a synth store. It's a niche market for sure. But I've actually still bought from them because they have a decent website. So I've bought a bunch of stuff from them. I've just never been in to play physically.
Yeah.
But it's just like a great analog, like kind of heaven, like for keyboards. So it's just cool to at least see it once.
Yeah.
But yeah,
nice.
like so that whole world like always fascinated me. But I quickly realized like, oh shit, like this is a get poor world because I'll just keep buying all these synths and like especially like the stuff that I was even debating about getting. You ever seen like the racks?
Oh yeah.
So like racks don't exist. These are things we customized, built.
Yeah, exactly.
So you can go on forever just building this thing that just doesn't end. And it's like, it's fun, it's great, and that's why it's awesome. But I'm like, yo, I'm never gonna make music. I'm just gonna build this thing that doesn't stop till I die.
Yeah. And then you're gonna come to find out it just sounded better with just going straight through without all that. that was what Ian ended up telling me one time. He had all this stuff, all these pedals and stuff, and one day his whole system went down, and the only thing that worked was his amp. So he just plugged straight into his amp, and it turned out it sounded way better than what he had before.
Yeah.
And like all of his bandmates had told him that too without him saying anything. So he's like, well, fuck. Said, I guess I'll just continue to do that.
Yeah, like that's
gotta keep it simple sometimes.
You're using physical signal chain because you got real stuff, but like a lot of us in the box, DAW in the DAW, you know, in the box. When we're making stuff, like man, we get caught up too and like having like fucking 6 plugins on every track.
Yeah.
And it's just like, man, like, and sometimes like you put so much shit you don't even know what the hell it was anymore, and like, oh, like I really need any of this shit on here, you know? But I don't know, but because it's fun, but it's just like, man, we lose track. Like, yo, we gotta make a song here. You know?
Yeah, exactly, and that's also kind of reminds me of one of my problems too. Is my style has been changing for a long time, like when I was in high school, it was like alternative 90s rock. And then as I got a little further along, it just got a little heavier. Then eventually I went into like heavy metal. And then finally now I was just like, okay, let's stick with prog just because I want to play the most technical stuff. So now it's me also trying to learn techniques at the same time.
And prog could be a cheat way so that you can play all those other 2 things in it anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do, but we'll see how it turns out.
There's a no, I was gonna bring up Evergrey, but I won't do that. I always felt like there's always these weird prog bands who I'm like, why are you guys prog? You guys don't make 10-minute songs. You only make 5 to 6, 4 minutes even. That's you're normal.
Yeah.
I was like I used to always think that about Evergrey, and I'm like, I guess they're probably doing cooler stuff on their guitars and that I guess quite classified, but I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, usually nowadays instead of thinking of one song, I have to try to listen to albums as a whole, and that they usually turn out more progressive that way.
Yeah. No, all their shits, especially the stuff that defined them, concept albums for sure. And I think that's a big prog thing too, is the concept album.
Yes. For sure.
But you were saying like your style keeps changing. That's almost why I feel like it's always important to be like making stuff, because you're not in that high school mode no more. So you probably can't make those songs. You could, but just like I said about Metallica, it'd be forcing it. You
exactly.
know? So you make like all this shit now because you probably won't be in that mode again. But you got a bunch of shit from this era, you know, like yeah.
I agree.
Let's see, what's the next one? Here's my stereotype. This is my original question I used to ask everybody. What's your goal in life?
My goal in life? Essentially just pretty much to be the best person that I can be. And like, I'm still not even sure who that person is. It's got to be like one of those open, all out good good people that like by the time I die that there's everybody's saying, man, that dude was a good guy. Like there was absolutely nothing wrong with him. And then also to pretty much just make music, good music. It doesn't have to be open for everybody, just mainly for myself. I just want to play music just because I enjoy it. And other than that, eventually I wouldn't mind having a family and passing down my genes, but that's not really big on the list. That's kind of like a definition of what life is.
I just find the verbalization. I wouldn't mind having a family and passing down my genes. Yeah, you even call yourself too. That's just kind of a definition of life.
That's just kind of what life is about, I guess. But
yeah, I guess that's but damn, I've never heard someone's. I wouldn't mind passing down my genes. Yeah.
That'd be all right. Hand them down. I mean, they're not the best, but hey.
Hey man, it's still time, man. We keep getting better every day.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm waiting. I'm taking my time.
Yeah, man. Track 3 on probably Awake, not Images and Word, but Awake, was Take the Time, Dream Theater, 1994. That was a great fucking song. That's great.
I need to listen to more of them, especially that older stuff.
Maybe. I don't know. like,
there's a lot of things I say I need to listen to.
Yeah, I mean, like,
there's
so much. Yeah, like, it's just, you know.
Like, it took me forever to get to Opeth. I was like, I need to listen to them. I need to listen to them.
Like, man.
Yeah, that's a long discussion, too.
That's so good. That's... Man, you know what? Like I wonder if I even have it. Now it's probably not even musicians no more, but I used to have like 5 probably like people who like maybe like really inspire me, and they probably still do that, they exist. Maybe, but even if I don't like their current input, and Dream Theater was the only like group on there. You know, like because everybody else, because Opeth's a group, but it's really Michael Ackerfeld. You know what I mean? And Porcupine Tree was with Steven Wilson and stuff, if you know who that is. If not, it doesn't matter. Yeah,
I've heard of them.
But yeah, no, Opeth so fucking amazing, so big.
It's just prog metal for sure.
They're so fuck man. Like they and to me they have like 3 solid stages of their career. The first 2 albums, I don't know. I still don't know if I even like that. Like hearing it live is one thing because it's cool and you're hearing it through them now. But those first 2 albums, they're just 6 songs each. But those 6 songs are like all 10 to 20 minute endeavors. Are like, and they're not even like the way like a Dream Theater can make it seamlessly. Like sometimes they just stop and like stuff is happening and I'm like it's very weird. Like. It
like takes you out of the song and you forget that song is playing, and then they'll come back into it and you're like, oh shit, and you check down at your phone, you're at 16 minutes.
Yeah,
oh my
what
god,
is going on?
this song's still going.
Yeah, and like after that they get into their what I call the real Opeth, like which is probably where everybody knows them from, And yeah, their longest songs there are just 10 minutes. They just kind of hover around that thing, like 5 to 10 minute range there. And you get that stereotypical Opeth sound, which is it's not even like classical so much. They have it as a folk vibe, right, for acoustic.
It reminds me of like medieval music.
Yeah. And then obviously metal, and then the growling and the clean voices and the bouncing back and forth.
With that little Jethro Tull singing style.
Yeah. That's damn, I didn't notice. That's good. Yeah. And then you get now where it's no more growling.
Yeah, but it is still pretty groovy. That last album they released.
It is not bad.
I was like,
you need just like I feel like with the 96 albums, like a lot of people, those are good albums. They're just called, it has Metallica on it, so it's bad because you expect Metallica. I feel like I don't know any Opeth fan. You probably the first then, I guess, because most Opeth fans hate those 3 albums that I know because they all want the metal shit. And because they don't do the metal shit, they just won't listen to it. But if you hear it, they are good albums. It's just not the metal shit. And you could almost lump you can kind of start that new era with the album that has Ghost of Perdition on it, because the minute they add the keyboardist, it's kind of where they start going into, they start slowly becoming Camel. That's what they are. Camel? It's a prog group from like the 70s.
Yeah.
But it's his like one of his favorite bands, and that's when they
Exactly.
pretty much become Camel. Like, and so they start with the synth, they start slowly becoming Camel, but they're still Opeth.
Yeah.
And once they stop growling, now they're just Camel, hardcore Camel, because they're still a little bit heavy. But they
yeah, because that was how I heard of that band, was from Opeth.
Yeah, from them.
Because
Yeah.
it was like all these top 10 bands or whatever that
Him and
influenced me.
Steven Wilson will always name some shit like that I don't know.
Yeah, I looked down that list. I was like, I
Fuck
really
is
don't
this?
know any of this. Like, I expected to hear other stuff, and
And it's because they grew up over there, so they have just different stuff they were into, you know.
yeah, exactly.
So,
and
yeah.
I'm glad for that.
Yeah, no, absolutely. But yeah, him, you probably don't know Pain of Salvation, right? Almost no one ever knows Pain of Salvation. They were
can't
from
say
Sweden,
so.
because of all the bands that I listened to, and granted, you were liking this music too, so you probably knew it too, but all the bands I listened to, they all had their moment of fame. Opeth and Porcupine Tree got progressively more famous since when I first discovered them.
Yeah.
With Pain of Salvation. And you know what? Evergrey was never as big as them. But yeah, those two don't really ever blow up, and they're both from Sweden. Funny enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, like Pain of Salvation probably was one of. Damn, they have such good shit that. And it was another like one man like band. He was probably a dictator though, because once his prime time lineup, once his Marty Friedman era like lineup like leaves, like he has a hard time keeping it together, because he kind of is like an iron fist ruler with the band. But like, yeah, that was another band that just hugely influenced me. But anyway, what 3 things thankful for in life?
3 things I'm thankful for in life. Let's see. One is definitely music, and the fact that I was able to get a hold of it while I was young and start playing it, because that's helped me get through a lot of things.
Is it like a catharsis for you?
Yeah, it's pretty much what keeps life enjoyable for me. Yeah. Because otherwise, I really don't know what the hell I'd do. Drugs.
You answered it real quick. Yeah.
Drugs. Yep, that's it. Let's see. The other thing is actually the fact that I grew up in such a small town, and I got like a hard work ethic. Because if I hadn't done that, like, I didn't grow up from money, so I pretty much have built all the money that I have now, and like come to start building more. And I'm like, okay, yeah, someday I can make a good amount of money, just because of all the hard work that I was taught when I was younger, and kind of gave me a idea that there's really nothing that I can't do, just because I feel like, and also another thing I guess that I'm thankful for in life is that I was kind of blessed with some wits about me, like compared to like some people I walk down the street and see. But like, yeah, that was a good thing about the hard work, was that it made me think like, okay, I can do anything physical labor. Like anytime I see somebody do something like that, I see that it's possible usually. Like people are like, oh, I don't see how these guys do this all day long. I'm like, oh, it's easy. And then other people come around like to the other side with like knowledge and stuff. They're like, oh, I can't believe people are into this, or like they like to read that much, or they can go through school to become a doctor. And I'm like, I see where they come from. I said, me personally, it's not my thing, because music hit me so hard. But like, if music hadn't hit me so hard, it wouldn't surprise me that I probably would have ended up sticking more closer to school and focusing on stuff like that. But then again, it also wouldn't surprise me if I'd have spun off on drugs.
Never underestimate the power of drugs.
Yeah. It's all, life is a coin. You never know which side you're going to sit.
Damn, there's your Forrest Gump moment.
No shit, life's a coin. You never know which side you're going to get.
That's funny. See, you do watch movies.
Yeah. I watched a bunch of the classics. Not all of them. Still a bunch I need to see. But Forrest Gump is always one of my favorites.
All right. That was 3 things, right?
Yeah.
Okay. 3. Where you see yourself 3 years in the future?
That's a really hard one, because I usually go day to day. I would really love to see myself in a band at that point. I would love to see that I have at least a good full album written in me in this band, or hopefully playing it and doing stuff with it. That, and at that time, if I'm still continuing my electrical career, which if I'm with a band, I doubt it, but then I would be able potentially to own my own business at that point with the licensing that I have to achieve. So it's really just hard to say because I have so many opportunities open, and as much as I love Austin, it's hard to say as to whether or not I'll still live here at that point. But I would like to think that I would still live here, and that hopefully I would have bought a house or something by then, or gotten some point in my life another step further. But definitely where I want to be is doing more music. And definitely like being with a group of guys. And man, I would love to be like actually touring and being like, all right, sell my truck, go buy a nice good van or whatever, and say, let's load up, boys, and just start touring.
That's realistic.
Yeah, it's all realistic, but just where it pans out and what happens, I guess time will tell.
For sure. Cause I've seen many a band go on tour, like with the van and without the van. So I mean, like, it's totally doable,
Yeah.
So yeah, man. What is the perfect day?
What is the perfect day for me? I guess the perfect day for me would be one of those ones where I wake up at a good early time, maybe between 7 and 8 o'clock. And I guess, depending on whether or not I go to work, I guess, if I do go to work, which work does actually make my day better, especially if I do my normal 8-hour days.
It does make your day better?
In a way, yeah.
How?
It kind of gives me a better mindset. Like, I take pride in the job I do, and whenever I do have a good day at work, where I don't work, too hard, don't do anything terribly difficult, but I do get to use my brain a lot or something like that, where say I'm setting up some light fixtures to be somewhere and I'm taking a lot of measurements and pinpointing, getting stuff accurate, and get all that done and eat a good meal throughout the day, go home, and then come home and play music pretty much. And in a perfect world, a perfect day would be that I already have all my songs written and I've got a band playing them with. But then usually after that, settle down, have a drink, go to sleep. But I guess a perfect day would probably be filled with less work. A perfect day, I would probably be the guy owning the business and going to my job site or something and being like, all right, guys, you're doing a good job. Let me double check this and that. All right, y'all have fun. I'm going to Cheddar's. Something like that.
Is that a good restaurant, Cheddar's?
No.
Still have never been.
No, I don't think so. I've only been there once. For some reason, it was just the first one that popped up in my head.
But that's the definition of success. It's so bad that I can just go to it.
Yeah.
Because I can.
Yeah, exactly.
That's funny. But yeah, nah, man. Like that's like super attainable. The whole make music, get band. You gotta get the group together.
Yeah.
But I think with a lot of us, at least me, because I definitely started, guitar was my first instrument. I wanted to do like rock and stuff, but I ended up doing electronic stuff because it was easier to just do it myself because I had, I guess, people problems and stuff.
Yeah.
And then only later on did I get into, I can just do the rock thing by myself, Yeah. As I saw other people doing it.
Right.
So, yeah, until those people arrive, you can still just play all the parts.
Yeah. And see, that's funny because of how it was for me, I guess. I didn't have much info on any techno stuff, so like I was kind of stuck on rock and roll. And growing up in such a small town, I was kind of stuck in the position where I almost had to play by myself. And I guess I wasn't okay with that. Like I wanted more people to play with, and I was upset that I didn't have any. My parents were like, "Well, what are you doing? You could do this all by yourself. You could just go up there with a guitar and play. You could even have drum tracks or whatever to play along to." Yeah. Tons of guys do it, and I was like, "No, I want a band. I was like, I want people to play with, and part of that is I like other people's input too,
For sure.
because like sometimes it's just better for more than one person to create a masterpiece. I like having other people's ideas and stuff put into it because a lot of the time, whenever I hear that and then put my stuff in with it, I'm like, oh, this sounds amazing. Sounds so much better than what it would have if I'd have did it alone.
For sure. And you're not wrong. But I think I got into that probably because one, either, at times they weren't there, and then two, they were there. They just weren't about getting this shit done. And I think, just like I explained to you and my other friends earlier, but like, just some people just, like I don't know the secret to making it in any of these things I do, but I at least know I can get shit done. That's been time and time proven again. I've probably putting out, if you count everything, not if you count music, then no. But if you count everything I've done, then yeah, I've probably putting out more stuff than most people I know, which is both good for me, but also pissed me off because then I'm like, I need to know crazier people. Like that way I can chase after them. I need to know people who are even doing even more than me. That way I get inspired again. But like yeah, that was the main thing because I needed to do stuff. It just wasn't happening. So this is a question I feel like eventually I'm gonna cut and scrap it. But I asked Magnus it, so I'm gonna ask you it. It's called I Like, I Wish, I Wonder. So in the last year, you like that you did. Like, I like that I did. It's a 3-parter, but yeah.
Okay, say that again.
It's just a 3-part question. This is why I'm getting rid of it. Yeah, this is why this is why, but I figured I'd try it. I think I asked it better with Magnus, but I feel like I just ruined that delivery all the time with that one. I like that I did. So like just fill that in that
see
blank.
what you're saying.
Yeah. But for the last year of your life, just the last year.
The last year of my life, definitely moving here was what I like the most. That's definitely helped me as a person, and I guess like helped me like emotionally, and like for like thinking about the will of myself. It's just helped me like get through rather than just staying over there in West Texas. Like I was getting like I guess real closed in my own bubble, and like nobody else was really like me over there. So it was kind of one of those deals where I was like, man, I'm getting to be real lonely. I was like, this kind of sucks. And then I came over here, and all of a sudden, bam, there's people everywhere like me. And I'm like, all right, this feels good. Now I can focus on being myself even more.
Yeah.
And continue doing that. But like, what else have I done this year that I like?
Oh, it's just, you need one thing. I mean, you want to keep going, but just one thing's good.
Yeah. I was just trying to think if there was like anything else as a general whole, but that's mostly the best thing that I've done this past year.
I relate to everything you just said right there, and but I think I've let the fear of the unknown stop me, from leaving yet, because I'm not the biggest fan of San Antonio. That thing I alluded to earlier. So yeah.
Yeah, and I had like the same kind of fear. It was like I was nervous to move over here, but yeah, what I did was just I didn't think about it until the very last moment. And I noticed I started doing that with everything, like right before.
I've done it with everything else. You just kind of just do it, but for the move thing, I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah, usually because that like takes financial stuff and reason. It's like, all right, I gotta make sure that I'm gonna be good once I get there.
Honestly, for the purposes of Austin, I'm pretty sure. I feel like, because I know this area, like I can just do it whenever I want if I really wanted to.
Yeah.
But the one in my head more is LA. And I don't even think the financial things or anything are a concern as much as just like just living over there, because I at least know Magnus and now you guys, so I could hit you up and I get to I take these little jobs and like stay here while I do that little job,
Yeah, exactly.
But like over there, I know people, but everybody I know, I think they would be able to help me career-wise. I don't know what the hell I just said, but career-wise, long-term, not day one. And most of them probably can't house me either,
Yeah, exactly.
And then the way that town is like spread out it's not even spread out, but because traffic, it's spread out,
Yeah.
I'm like, I wouldn't even want to commit to nothing like living situation. Like in my head, I was almost coming up with, because I know one of my friends would let me use his address. So I was like, all right, I live here, but maybe I could just live in my car and I'll use Planet Fit. Like I'm coming up with scenarios. So like, because I kind of want to be mobile until I'm on my right track. because I don't want to commit no 12-month lease. And like, oh, I found this awesome shit in Santa Monica, but now I got some shit in West Hollywood.
Yeah.
Well, now I just committed to like 2 to 3 hours a day in a car. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
like, no, you know, like that can't be. That cannot be.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even though it's not that far. Realistically, I would totally do that drive. But realistically, that drive is not distance problem. It's just a car problem. It's a traffic problem. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, I don't know. But honestly, those are all bullshit excuses too.
Yeah.
That I just gave you. So it's all junk. Oh yeah. So to continue that one, I wish I had done for the last year.
Honestly, I wish I would have practiced guitar and learned more techniques more than what I did. I guess me being over there, like since I was just out in the middle of nowhere, I played mostly I got to where I played out of boredom rather than focusing on training like I should have been. And I think about that now, I was like, I really did slack a lot over there. Like there were a lot of days that I'd only play like an hour and then I'd end up just getting drunk and playing video games or something. just because it was like I was at my work apartment. Like our company had a little apartment for us since the job was so far out of town.
Yeah.
And I would just sit at that apartment with my TV and stuff and just kind of be like, oh, I got all these nice things. I'll just sit here since I'm not really home and do this. And
normal life is real good at conditioning us to do just that.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Got too easy with the day-to-day life. Like it was a 5-minute drive to work and back. And then I didn't have like all of my guitar gear and all of my stuff. Like it wasn't my room or anything. So it was like whenever I was playing or practicing guitar, I kind of felt limited in the back of my mind, but yet I had everything I needed. So yeah, definitely would have played.
Technique always comes up when we talk about guitar. Like what technique do you need to learn? like,
all of them.
I know, but yeah, like just I'm just curious, like what does that mean? Yeah.
Like there's, like traditionally when you think of somebody playing guitar, they got a pick and they're strumming or whatever, or plucking. And I would have liked to focus more on like slapping technique, thumping technique, like Tazanabasi. Yeah.
I don't know that artist you said, but I always think of Victor Wooten's brother, Reggie Wooten.
Yeah.
He's nowhere near as famous as Victor is, but he does that shit too.
But like, what is it? The band Animals as Leaders?
Oh. Animals as Leaders?
Yeah. That's Tazan Abasi. Okay. He plays 8-string and he like perfected that thumping technique where he's just like just doing crazy stuff.
You should show me something.
But there's that and like.
Or what's a good song to hear? I'll write that down with the AC/DC thing.
Oh man.
What's a good song that would, I guess, display that? I know what you mean, that technique, but I'd just like to hear it.
I honestly can't think of a good song. Like, I can't remember any of the names of their songs anyways.
We'll look it up later then.
Yeah. But that and, like, maybe flamenco guitar style. And double hand tapping, too.
Okay.
There's a lot of newer bands now that are just sitting there and a lot of them only use 2 hands, especially for the 8-string guitars.
Yeah. And
watching them do that really makes me jealous. But then again, I know there's a few that like play in open tuning, so it's like super easy. But still, I haven't really wandered into that too much. So, and I wish I would have. I had all the time while I was over there in West Texas, but.
And the last one for that 3-parter is, I wonder what would have happened if.
I guess I wonder what would have happened if I hadn't moved to Austin and I would have just stuck in Abilene and tried to continue playing music and just bought a cheaper house there like I was originally planning on doing. I do wonder what would have happened there. And chances are I probably would have got closer to my family and I probably would have remained an alcoholic. Not really an alcoholic, just drinking for fun. Like whenever I got here, I stopped pretty much because there was just more things I could do. Yeah. Like I was never really dependent on alcohol. It's so bored so bored that I just drank and enjoy doing that.
Damn. That's crazy.
Yeah. Pretty funny. Yeah, that's one bad thing about the small towns in West Texas is most people are alcoholics or they seem to be alcoholics just because there's nothing better to do.
Man, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's
I
pretty
wonder. I
crappy.
wonder. Wait, that's not. I wonder if a lot of our vices comes from that, from boredom, and not even because we like them.
Yeah.
That's I know that's like horrible to think about. I need to like check that in my life now.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, sometimes it takes just stepping back, smoking a J, and thinking about life.
there you go, man. There you go.
Head damn near explodes every time.
This is the last one.
Okay.
What's the question that I should have asked you but didn't?
That's probably the hardest question yet. Like what questions I should have been asked.
Just one? No. Yeah, you said questions were
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. What question should have?
Yeah.
I can't say there is one, honestly, because I'm such a easy come, easy go guy that I don't know. I guess life's a little too simple for me to think about what questions should have been asked.
Or is there a question that you wish people would ask you just in general but don't?
No.
You're like, nope.
Who were my biggest influences as a whole on music? And honestly, that list would be pretty long. Like,
Name five. Just give 5. Just get like.
all right, let me try to go in an order of time. I guess it would probably start with the Beatles as a whole and all the older music they made, like in the earlier 60s.
Yeah.
Then it would have to go to Black Sabbath. And then I want to throw these two together, but it would be like Incubus and Red Hot Chili Peppers, because I've always pictured them as like two very similar bands that did two totally different things. And they're like the only two of their kind, which is great. So I'm going to count them as the third together.
All right, that's fine. It's your list. You do what
And,
you need to do. You know? Like,
yeah, I'm trying to keep it toned down. I guess for a more recent one, I would like to consider the band Chon. That's kind of like
What is it?
Chon.
Yeah, spell that. I'll look that
CHON.
up. CHONI.
Yeah, and they're a pretty groovy instrumental guitar band that have done good for me too. I guess I'll swing back to probably Kurt Cobain again.
Not even Nirvana, just Kurt Cobain.
Yeah, honestly, I guess I could say Nirvana as a whole, just because Dave Grohl came out of it in the Foo Fighters, and he's done a lot of good things.
I was gonna say
one of the best songwriters.
It's funny. I was just thinking of Dave when you said that, and just like we talked about Dave, like it's amazing he had two. It's crazy that he got two like legend bands too.
Yeah, just legendary.
That is
both
some
of them.
shit, right? That
Yeah. And honestly,
some people named Dave. I don't know.
And like it's funny, Nirvana had more of a better influence on me, and like at a point, I guess out of a point in my life, I liked them more than I ever liked Foo Fighters. But
yeah,
I would have to say Foo Fighters is a better band. Like, or I say better band. Dave Grohl is just a better songwriter. He's just really good.
But he
songwriter.
had all the experience of Nirvana. And he got to mature his band, you know?
It's
for
true.
obvious reasons,
So,
you know?
yeah, and if it wasn't for Nirvana, he probably wouldn't have gotten to where he is, but
yeah,
you never know.
You don't.
But, yeah, very cool. Very cool, dude.
Yeah, for sure. But, all right, man. If I don't know, because the way you said, you know, do you have any online presence? If so, do you want people to find you online? Like, say it now.
Yeah, pretty much just Instagram is what I'm on right now. And honestly, I don't even know my username. I'm so bad with that. Yeah, Instagram's about the only one that I'm on anymore, just because I'm trying to avoid
I don't blame you.
all of the spam.
I'm trying to be good at putting it out, but not intaking it, because I cut like all these things up into little clips and stuff. And you'll see it when I take clips of this and stuff. But what's yours? Like,
The Instagram is my last name and middle name, Rees Glenn. So it's ReesGlenn.
okay.
And I haven't put too much on there. A few videos of me playing guitar and just pictures, like like a normal person.
Is there yeah, mine isn't normal anymore. It's hardly less of anything of me and all the stuff I do, kind of.
Yeah.
That being said, there's me in every post because like I used to be in a group. I used to do like a hip hop electronic live thing. I don't remember if I told you that or not, but we had 4 horn players, a drummer, and me on the beats. I think I did tell you in your room.
Yeah.
But now like one of the things I do for training, like I post every day. I'm like, yeah, I did do it today. All right, but because I do, it's just training for me. But I post every day, and then whatever I'm posting, it's usually one of these things, like a cut of this, but I rap about it or not. You know, I just write down. Well, I'm texting it, writing. But yeah,
exactly.
The comments are just me writing. And yeah, so I guess technically there's me and everything, but like in terms of pictures, yeah, it's hardly that shit for me.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the few pictures I do have, I can't say that I like very much. What my Instagram will eventually end up being is just guitar videos of me playing, because that's pretty much like just about the only thing that I follow on Instagram is other guitar players or bands.
Good. Yeah, it's kind of important to keep that coming in your head, the shit that you want.
Yeah.
So that's good. Last words. Oh, and real quick. Yeah. So none of your music's online yet, right?
No, none of it's online yet.
Okay. All right. Last
So,
words.
Peace.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right, there you go.
Very
Bake
simple
that
guy.
chicken. There you go. Bake that chicken, smoke that turkey. Boosh. We out.
No doubt. Later.